crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
The crossover. I'm just looking at your T-shirt. The crossover is powered by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com. Good Monday.
Hello. Great one.
Ding, ding, go.
Ding, ding. Oh, yeah. We're supposed to fight.
Got any hot takes?
Well, I was looking at construction projects this morning.
As he does every morning.
Yeah. As you
Are these
do.
sports or general or downtown?
No, Mutual of Omaha Tower progress from our friends at Grow Omaha. We're going up to we're up to the 30th floor and the Mutual of Omaha. I mean, every time
they're building, man. They're building. I see it every day.
How tall is it supposed to be?
677 feet tall.
So floors?
Yeah. How many stories?
I don't know. I
feel like
don't
that'd be
know.
a quick Google search, wouldn't that?
I don't know. The First National Bank Tower is 633.
Okay. All right.
So this will be taller, and the tiny baby Woodman Tower is less than 500 feet.
So sad.
Everybody knows that you have to have 5 big buildings to have a skyline.
You think so?
Yeah.
So you're saying Omaha
that's-
does not have a
that's the
skyline?
rule.
Okay,
Yes,
so-
Omaha has a skyline, guys.
Well, you jumped
Just-
off of one of the buildings.
I did jump off of one of the buildings.
Yeah.
We got there. Okay.
How
Connor
does he
1-0.
score a point?
Yeah,
there?
how did they get a point?
How is that a
Is
point?
that that's a
How is that
2-point
point system?
takedown.
Which, by the
it's a
way,
prediction.
I just want to say this right now. Like, you're supposed to be on my side. You're supposed to be on my team. All right.
I'm rooting for you.
I feel like you're more so in his corner.
When you're on the canvas, I'm like, get up!
I just
Get up!
I feel like I'm CM Punk and he's Roman Reigns, and I just know deep down in my heart that you are acknowledging the tribal
So you're
chief.
saying it's rigged?
Yeah, it is.
Now,
Interesting.
wait. So you said you have to have 5 tall buildings? I'm
I'm Mr. Take Guy over here.
What
I'm
about
just,
a
I'm just
unique
making
desert
a joke,
dome?
guys?
It's
I'm
not very
making
tall,
a joke.
but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
people know
Hey,
it.
so when they put the Omaha skyline on the Omaha court
Yeah.
on the back, is the desert
Yes.
dome on there?
Got it.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
it's a big part of the skyline.
It is. It is. People used to go to that.
Even though could you
area of
actually
town.
like what angle would you have to look at?
You'd have to be
see-
looking for a very wide angle.
Yeah,
very
a
wide-
very wide
So
angle.
you'd be on 13th Street,
No, you'd
up in the air.
No, you would be.
You'd have to be in a
You'd be
Goodyear
across the river, several miles away.
blimp to be able to
and
see
then in
the
the
dome.
distant background.
You could see it. You could probably see all of it from Amerisports Casino, Ameristar Casino. It's
That's-
the only place to be.
By the way, they're changing the name of that.
That's what their song used to be.
Oh,
It's
is
going to
it?
be called
Okay.
the Hollywood Casino.
Really?
Yeah. And they're
So
gonna,
I heard about the boat.
and the boat's going south.
What they're just gonna literally detach the boat and
Just move it down the
go
river.
down the river.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah, the casino is a boat.
Yeah, I heard.
And,
so I've been told.
Apparently, it won't be a boat anymore. They're gonna
No
put
boat.
it on land.
No boat.
I don't like that. I kind of like the idea of being on a boat.
Me too.
You like a boat?
Me too. R.I.P. boat. I do like a boat.
Except for pontoon boats.
That boat in particular, that casino it's very tight. It's very tight.
Never been in there.
Yeah, go
Wasn't
check
that
it
the
out.
original? Is that the first one?
I don't know. I assume the horseshoe is the newest, considering
Yeah.
Well,
how it looks.
Oh, were we just
Oh,
talking?
no,
okay,
Constable
we're
side.
just okay.
Yeah.
So as I'd say, the war horse has undergone the new renovation that they just finished.
Well, yeah, they built the whole thing, right?
yeah. Very nice. They got 2 restaurants. in there
John emails in, by the way.
Hi, John.
Hey, I just realized that Matt didn't go splat on the sidewalk on Friday. Good for him.
now. It was cool. It was scary.
Congratulations.
I was telling Gary off air. I kind of got hosed though because they.
I love that you found a way to be wronged
Whoa.
in a charity event.
got hosed.
I got hosed a little bit because
Point.
the astronaut. They had an astronaut there who's a great guy.
Clayton Anderson.
Yes,
Yeah.
Clayton Anderson.
Absolute beauty. Okay, and
We don't have a lot of those here.
I was.
There's a reason why he calls himself the Nebraska.
Yes. So he was there, and he was great because I was legit nervous. And when you got a guy who's like, "Yeah, I've been in space before," you get a little bit less nervous.
Sure.
You're like, "Why am I nervous?"
That's a
This
good
guy's
line.
been,
That's a really good line.
like when he calmed me down. He's like, "Yeah, he's been up there for like," he told me 161 days he's been in space. So immediately I thought, okay, I don't have to worry as much about rappelling down a 20-foot or 20-story building. But the problem is that Clayton is a dog, and he did it in 6 minutes.
Like he's got that dog in him.
He went quickly. He went balls to the wall.
How long did it take you?
Boom, boom. 15. I really.
Well, you would think you would want to get it over quicker if you were more scared.
No, I took my time.
So did you bounce off the side? And
So we got I was very much like crawling.
Well, hold on, time out.
Go ahead.
Did they give you any instruction before they harnessed you up?
Yes, we
Okay.
did there was about it was a 90-minute process of getting hooked up, getting trained, and then going down. So we got properly trained and we were very safe, but I definitely was inching down the wall at the beginning. And then I got to the middle and I had been up there for a while and I go, okay, I'm ready to get down. I'm ready to touch
No
Earth.
turning back.
Yeah.
I
now.
am done.
And then so I started going really quick and started bouncing off the wall. And then I was like, no. I don't like this at all. So then I had to pull up and then I went slow again.
Okay.
But there was a moment where I was like I was Tom cruising and I got really scared.
You were Tom cruising.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I would not
Would you do it
it
again?
Would I do it again? No. I wouldn't do it again. Do it once.
What if it was
cool.
more charity?
We did raise $800 for the foundation.
It's really
So
good.
that was pretty cool.
It's really good.
Shout out to everybody. Had a couple of listeners donate, so thank you so much. But no, I wouldn't do it again. It was good for me. But the people who ran the event were incredibly organized and very safe.
Aren't you glad we have tiny buildings here now?
Well, see, that's the one thing. It's like I don't really got what other building am I going to rappel down that's going to be that much bigger?
Look, the apartment building that you rappelled down is not part of Omaha's skyline.
Well, people do not clean their apartments in that building because
I know a guy who lived there.
What do you mean
that's
peeping? The
that's a
windows
take.
were wide open. People were warned.
Do you think that they were?
Did they tell people that
Yeah,
they
were the
were
residents
repelling?
notified?
They were emailed and told to, hey,
Oh,
we're going to have
wow.
people rappelling down the building.
All right, that's pretty bad.
From
Yeah.
this time to this time. Do not make sure you close your blinds if you don't want to
So
be
it's all
bothered.
college kids who live in there.
No, there was an Asian lady and her what looked like her grandson.
They
who
can be
were
in college
living
as well.
together.
It's allowed.
I'm just saying. I just wanted
So,
to paint the picture.
Did you stare inside of her house?
Yeah,
No,
what's
she
going
was
on in there?
waving.
Oh,
She was
okay.
knocking on the window.
Oh,
I was
okay.
rappelling down, and I was real locked in. It was when I was going fast, and then all of a sudden I heard and I looked, and it was a lady. She's like, "Hi, what's up?" And then the little kid started waving and saw me he was had to be 2 years old.
I'd wave. If
Yeah,
I saw a
I was
dude
waving.
rappelling outside of my window and I lived on the 15th floor, I'd be like, hello.
But there was a lot of people who did not close their blinds and who had just really dirty rooms that I was just looking into, and I was
If somebody rappelled off of your apartment building, what would they see?
a lot of clothes and
Dirty.
they would know I'm a Cubs fan.
Dirty.
They would know I root for the Cubs.
But your apartment would
My room, my own personal room, isn't super clean. The living area though is very clean. We keep a very clean apartment.
Mike likes to extend an invite your guys' way.
Hi, Mike.
So now, Matt, are you and Gary going to golf at my tournament on May 29th? Golfing is definitely more fun, safer than rappelling.
Yes.
More charity.
I may not be able to because I have people coming into town, which has been
For my birthday?
Maybe.
No, for
That's my birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday?
Mhm.
Yeah,
There's also I think there's
I
an
have
Are you gonna have
award
a
show.
military parade on your birthday?
I've
That's the
asked
thing to do.
if it would be possible.
Yeah.
We have to go on.
They said they'd get back to me.
We have to go to an awards show that night.
That's right.
What, Shane Gillis?
He didn't win any awards.
No.
Shane Gillis is on May 29th, I'm pretty sure,
He
in
would
Omaha.
It's
Win
not that.
fattest comedian.
Hey, now.
Hey, he's great. He's funny. You know, he likes Bud Light.
Palest skin.
Yeah, that's right.
He's got the most SEC fraternity relationship I've ever seen. It's incredible.
yeah.
Him and his girlfriend, they look exactly like, Sigma Chi's dating betas over at Ole Miss.
Sigma Chi's dating betas. What's that mean?
That's like fraternities and sororities.
I know, but
They're just he looks like he would be a Chi and she looks like she would be a beta and they would be dating.
really, what does a Chi look like?
Yeah.
Shane Gillis.
Really,
Okay.
Yeah.
really.
At least that's what my Sigma Chi's at UNL looked like.
Hmm.
But we didn't have a very big fraternity life over at the over in Lincoln.
I know, but it was there. It was.
It was present.
It was there,
It
and
was
then
present.
that one house got suspended.
Yep, it was. I was about to say.
There's
it
a
was,
listener in our chat who knows about that. I think
Every year we had some sort of fraternity controversy.
I'm a big fan of Phi Psi.
you are. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That's right.
Chuck's a member of Phi Psi.
All right.
The first year he didn't live in the house, which kind of ruined because there was some cool stuff going on in that house.
Hey, so what are the frat dudes dressing like now? So, and when I was in college, there was like really short, like the shorts kept getting shorter.
Yeah.
But that was like I was at the tail end of that, or the
Chains?
tail beginning of that.
A lot of chains.
Chains?
All of them got
Chains?
chains. All of them have some sort of necklaces.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like
okay.
Jesus pieces.
I don't know why I
and-
instantly went
Not-
to wallet
Not,
chains.
no, not like
Josh is of the
No, no, no.
90s.
not 2003
I
wallet
need
chains.
to bring that back.
We do. We do.
No, they wear a lot of like jewelry's in. Earrings have gone up. A lot of guys got earrings.
Really? What has happened?
Baseball jerseys, pretty popular.
Baseball jerseys.
Baseball jerseys.
All right.
Can we create a frat, man?
Hawaiian
Josh, are you
shirts,
listening to this?
Little-
What is
yeah,
this?
yes,
What
I
is
am.
this? What is this person?
baseball jersey, earrings, necklaces. Like you'll get the typical guy who all he wears is jeans and tight like mediums. Like that's
So-
there's always one guy in the
The
group
really
that's like
butch,
that.
super cool frat guys wear more
Yes.
jewelry than their wife on my day-to-day basis.
Basically,
Okay.
exactly.
My interaction with the Phi Psi guys is not a little bit different.
I guess
don't
every
see-
frat's different.
I don't see a lot of baseball jerseys now. They
At
do
the bar,
lift a lot
at
of
1
weights.
o'clock. Oh my god.
They do lift a lot of weights.
See, that's another.
lift
They're
weights.
all.
Well,
in the-
they're all like pretty jacked.
All
Yeah.
right. Being jacked is
No,
super in right
I'm gonna.
now.
Big time. It's all about the fitness. All about
When I was in college, there wasn't like everybody wasn't getting super jacked.
Everybody's got a favorite creatine and protein powder, and they all have their push pull days, and they work out 4 days a week, and
Yeah.
they have their splits, and it's almost like I will say this: I do know with the frats, like it's almost like a requirement that you have to work out. Like when you're in like a lot of guys just like always
Totally
working out,
normal.
and so you
That's
go
cool,
with them.
man.
Just a bunch
So-
of guys wearing jewelry, working out together.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally not that bad. That's an accurate description.
Hey, whatever you want to say, there are some perks. Sometimes you have somebody that's been in your frat that has a Fortune 500 company that gives somebody a summer internship.
That happens sometimes a lot. I think.
yeah.
Full jobs.
That's
yeah.
called networking.
that,
Yes.
and
Well, you
that's
buy-
Called
know-
paying for friends.
You buy your friends. That's what I used to think. I almost joined Sigma Nu.
Yeah.
I
good thing you
also
did.
also was recruited to join.
Would have been
Sigma.
shut down a lot earlier.
Well, probably because they invited me into their house and I was like, "Hey, this is kind of cool." And I was like, "Nah." And then there was a snowball fight, and
Things escalated.
hey, you don't mess with the Nyhard people.
Oh yeah.
And now Nyhard doesn't even exist. They tore Nyhard down.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They
It's a
What,
green space.
what have they done to our campus? Me and Mitch were
Well-
talking about on the podcast this morning about the studying and the stacks. Then we got a tweet from Hoiberg Ballers, who said the stacks do indeed exist still, and they go there quite often, and it's still a very popular study spot.
Really?
Just going up and basically it's just like a hideaway in the library. Which are books real anymore? Who knows?
Yeah, there was
You went to the stacks, right?
No, I didn't.
Wow,
Where is that again? Sorry.
it's in the library.
No, I didn't study at the library. Did not.
I mean, I didn't really study
No.
at the library
Yeah.
either, but
But
I
sometimes
just
you were
went
forced
there.
to go there
Yeah.
to get a book or or there was a classroom in the library.
I never went to the library and got a book in my 4 years of college.
Yeah.
I always went to the bookstore where we had to pay a ridiculous amount of money to get our books every single year, which I still can't believe.
That's true.
That's how
after
college
paying
works.
Tuition.
That's
Hey,
how
it is
college-
kind of interesting in Lincoln, like the frats that get shut down and they just tear their house down. And there's like where Phi Psi is, they have a great location, but further down the street, like if you're headed towards the Devaney Center, on that one corner, I'm not sure what frat it was, but now it's just a green space because the frat got in trouble and then they just tore the house down.
Oh,
But it was a huge frat when I was in school.
there is still one that the house is still there.
Yeah.
It is a
Well,
bit.
they
A bit condemned at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah, that was like the cool thing. Was
That happened when I was in school.
Yeah.
And I remember what happened that day, and it was there are maybe some people in the chat who could regale you about that those
yeah.
things as well.
I remember. I was there during the Fiji.
With the Fiji.
The Fiji
Yep.
incident.
Oh.
And that got to the point where I had people from other colleges, friends from other colleges, calling me and being like, "Hey, what the hell happened over there?" Like, because that, like,
It was hurting the rep.
Oh,
It's hurting the reputation.
the petition got like to hundreds of thousands of people signing it across the country. It was crazy. It was wild.
And they said Nebraska was boring.
There's
But
definitely
the house
something
that
always
is
going on.
condemned,
Yeah.
why haven't they torn that down?
I have no
Because
clue.
it is an eyesore of where it's at.
I do know that that frat at a certain point was really trying to get it back.
Yeah,
Like,
there
they
was some
were
talk, but
really
they had to go through and have to go through a lot of things to get it back. They have to get back in the good graces of the university.
And part of their pitch to people was, hey, like we're trying to get it back, like we're trying to get the house back, like we're moving toward it, and then it never happened, you know. Because I knew a lot of guys who were part of that frat.
Where did they go?
They would hang out at it would be like, you know, when you have club sports and it's like, oh, this is the club golf house.
So they would just all show up at a certain time.
So like every year there was just a different senior who had a house, and that was considered like the party
their
house. Yeah.
Wow.
And they would go there and they would hang out there and they would do that. They would also like rent out bars, or sometimes like if they had like big events, they would like their philanthropy would be like, oh, we're just going to rent out a big space and like that's going to be our event or formal or whatever.
Very cool.
So
very, very cool. All right, now that we're up to date on frat, all the frat stuff.
Your Royals look good. Congratulations.
Dongs.
Oh, they're hitting?
All right, so when's
on Han Solo Day?
When's Cags showing up at Warner Park?
We're getting close.
I mean, it's got to be.
He's hitting 314,
So are they
6
on
homers.
the road this week?
The Storm Chasers are.
Okay, so by the time next week starts, maybe Cags is here.
Maybe
Cags.
How
is
long
here.
do you think he's in Omaha?
I mean, he probably extended.
Okay.
He might be here until the
He'll
end
be
of
here
August.
all summer.
Okay.
All summer.
Okay. I didn't know if the expectation was that it could be a quick trip if he ends up killing it.
Well, yeah, we'll see how fast it goes, but I would imagine he'll be here for. But there's you can't do anything with him right now unless you really trust him as an outfielder, which maybe.
Do you think that there is a world?
I don't trust anybody else.
Do you think that there is a world where he hits the absolute crap out of the ball and then he's gone and up to Kansas City or down to Kansas City
in
like
how
a month
short,
or a month and a half?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
But it's going to hinge on his ability to play outfield.
Yeah.
Because there's no room for him. There's no room at the end.
Can he?
He can't bump Hunter Renfroe.
I would love if they did that, but they won't. They won't.
But
Drew Waters is all right now.
And this might be a stupid question. Can he play first?
That is his primary position.
Okay,
but he's played a little bit more right field of late.
There's no room for him to
even
play
with
first.
even with Vinny struggling.
You can't, because then you would have 3 first baseman DHs on your roster.
Yes,
and there's no flexibility there.
Sure,
that would be a little rough.
Yeah. It would be rough, but they do have great pitching, and they are at the point where it's like.
But you're trying to get everybody.
Runs.
I mean, Salvador Perez and Vinny
Pasquantino
and Jack Caglione all need to be in the lineup.
This is not an argument of me being like they have. Like I totally agree with you. It's a difficult situation. At the same time, you do have to measure the fact that until yesterday, they had scored like barely more than like 3 runs than the Sox.
Yeah, but check the record, baby.
I would love to play the Colorado Rockies. You know,
that was only 3, baby. That was only 3.
No, it definitely helped you out. Definitely gave you the morale boost you needed to turn. What are they? 11-2 in the last 13.
Yeah,
I'm not crapping on them.
19 and 16.
I'm not crapping on them. You've done what you needed to do.
I think they play the White Sox this week, right?
Yep.
Yes.
White Sox 4. And Red Sox this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just the medicine I need. More dongs for all my boys.
Hey, so
more dongs.
You got. I'm sure you did, Josh. You watched Caitlin Clark yesterday?
Oh, couldn't turn it off.
I mean, you watched her from leaving the hotel to the walk-in, their fit check.
Yeah, I needed to talk about it for the show. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we got to get to that Caitlin Clark thing.
Then they treated Brazil like Angola, the '92 Dream Team. I mean,
bad.
They had no shot in that game.
No, but they were like
good. The Fever looked good though.
So the Brazil national team was like lining up for autographs.
Yes,
that's crazy.
Well,
just like Angola.
Like she came over, she was like standing on one end of the floor doing a free throw, and like the head coach got her attention. It's like, I just want to thank you.
Yeah, And then she goes, biggest crowd you played in front of? And he goes, yep.
Okay, so I would have never said this at the time. And by the way, this is not the Caitlin Clark thing. Just for those of you who are listening to the show.
Don't put it on the internet that we got
the
to
cereal. The cereal has been moved towards the front of your favorite Hy-Vee. She's got a new cereal.
She's moving up. Interesting. But so the further and further we get away from her being at Iowa, the more I now think, whoa, I was pretty lucky to see Caitlin Clark up close 3 times.
Yes.
Now, I would have never said that at the time.
Yeah.
Don't put it on the internet that I would have said that. But that was pretty cool. That we got to see that up close.
I do think you'll be able, hopefully it goes
and Nebraska
well
beat
enough.
them the last time.
Yes, they did.
Hopefully it
forget
goes
about
well
that.
enough for her
Didn't
that
follow
you're
Big Ten
able to be
protocol.
like, this was a cool thing that I attended.
When I said number 22, Caitlin Clark, number 22,
Clark for
there
3.
was a whole bunch of 12-year-olds that went absolutely ballistic.
How deep, when you do the away team, how like more deeper and monotone does your voice get?
I would say that it sounds a lot like in a guard, something like that. It's pretty simple.
I
Like normal
love-
voice.
I
At
love
guard,
the PA
at guard
guys.
from West Des Moines, Iowa, 6'1", number 22, Caitlin Clark, and then and then you just got to move on to the next
I
thing.
love the
Yeah.
guys who, for the home team, they're like, and now, like they're all into it. They're all like crazy cartoonish. And then when you get to the away teams, they go, number 13, Joakim Noah.
That's what JP does for men's basketball. Sometimes it drives me nuts.
Well, I think it's
Because
hard.
it gets really, really quiet for the visiting team.
Mhm.
Even like when
Oh,
they
you still
score
need
a bucket.
to hear it. Yeah. You
Yeah.
still need to hear what's
But
going on.
at the
I agree.
men's games, they're doing the Husker Power, and sometimes like for big games,
Yeah.
it's really loud and you can't hear anything that's going on no matter what. So you get a little bit of a break.
I
there.
hear because Nebraska is disrespectful by doing that chant during the lineups.
Oh, they're very disrespectful. That's one thing I know.
you don't like the sucks or who care? What do they say again? I forget.
Who cares? You suck. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
What do they do for?
They just do
They do
Husker
Husker
Power.
Oh, okay.
So when the visiting team is announced, that's what they do.
I don't.
But
really
did you
pay
hear?
attention.
Maybe one of the best things about the Kentucky Derby is NBC brought back Round Ball Rock. They did the commercial. and people
Oh,
lost their
there's
mind
much
because
conversation.
we love nostalgia.
Yeah,
Did you also hear what NBC is going to bring back
Yes, this
during
is
the playoffs?
this is a topic today. I love this.
the intros,
The
the player
intros.
intros.
Yeah.
It's great, incredible.
Great idea.
I mean, look at the Big East tournament every year.
Yep.
In the Big East final, you got the announcements and you go, let's go live to the PA guy. Like, give us 5. If you're gonna make a 6:05 or a 6:07 start time,
Mhm.
come on. The lineups are
Yes.
hitting at 6:00. You're there. Why not go in there? Why are we
agree.
just ripping off 4 ads during that period of time? Let's go live inside the arena.
So
More justice for the PA guy.
I would love
more
to see
airtime.
I would love to see the pregame hype video for like, especially the playoff games,
Yeah.
like that they show like in the arena.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love to
Because that
watch
stuff is usually hit if you're talking about like a 7:07 start time or a 7:10 start time, that stuff is hitting right at 7:00.
Oh yeah,
And then the
Yeah.
and then the anthem is that's that, and then they
Just-
tip the
just
thing
don't make the mistake that South Dakota did in the Summit League semifinals with their hype video.
Oh no.
Their hype video, which played before Omaha got it introduced,
Yeah.
they played it and then South Dakota got introduced, was pictures of South Dakota players beating a trash can.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yes, and so
no.
our guys stood there and like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Noted.
Why'd you guys do that?
Yeah,
You didn't
Um,
have to do that.
But what is so some people probably snarkily were like, whoa, why is the Big East music playing during the Kentucky Derby? What's the story? I thought Fox had it, and now NBC has got the masterpiece of John Tesh back.
So there was this big dispute about who like did NBC buy it back? Or does Fox lose it now that NBC
I don't
has
know.
it?
Because
for their
Fox had
NBA
been using it
coverage?
for the last couple of years.
They
Oh, yeah.
had
Fox has been on it for a while now.
they had licensed it from John Tesh or NBC, I forget which, but they went to one of them and said, "Hey,
Yeah.
you don't have basketball. Can we just use it?"
So now that NBC has
Mhm.
basketball, next year it's back.
I would think so.
NBC is secured. This is Google AI, so take it with a grain of salt here.
Yeah.
Fox had previously licensed the song for college basketball, but that agreement did not prevent NBC from using it for NBA games. NBC will be
Okay.
using Round Ball Rock as his theme song for NBA coverage, and Fox will not be apparently anymore.
Didn't Conan used to just play the song to play the song? because he's like, we got to use it. Like, we need it. That's so funny.
I mean, I think we've probably gone a little bit over the line with the whole like the
I don't think
importance
we have.
the importance of this song. It's great. I love it. I'm glad that it's back, but we don't need to be talking about it all the time.
The NBA needs you to talk about something other than John Morant.
Other than
grenades.
the basketball, shocking.
well, all the the weird,
hate
bad,
talking about
negative
They hate
publicity
basketball.
that they get.
The NBA is like,
Well, they don't like the
can
actual.
we please take any attention away from the fact that our basketball is.
I just cannot wait for the 3-week news cycle of LeBron may retire. He's mulling retirement. And then it's going to be LeBron is thinking about taking a pay cut in order to make sure that Luka's got his teams. And
I read today he will not take a pay cut.
Yeah. Well,
So we've already hit that point.
Yes.
in the
there we
cycle.
go. We've already talked about the
He's got to
exactly.
read the room. He's got to save that for a couple of weeks before he comes out with that.
With and then we'll get the whole LeBron has been told it's Luka's team, and and then a week later we'll get a Rob Pelinka, JJ Redick, and LeBron James reportedly have a closed door meeting, and then you'll get back to the he might retire, and then he'll come out and he'll announce he's not retiring.
He will not retire.
Yeah.
He
There
will-
we go.
he will
So
not
that's your 3-week news cycle, and we'll be talking about all of that instead of the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm. Well, what? Hey, OKC's got to get by Denver first.
Okay, see, if
Watch
they
out.
look anything like they did against Memphis, it could be quick.
There ain't no James Harden on Oklahoma City. You're in trouble.
Exactly. James. Yeah. If
Okay.
James Harden.
I wondered where we were going for a second, then you flipped it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. The Nuggets probably went out with that series. OKC's really good, but it'd be cool.
It'll probably be in 5.
How about
Never been there before. Can you trust it?
It'll probably be in 5.
5? You're saying Lakers in 5, except for not Lakers, Thunder.
You can.
What about Russell Westbrook?
You can have a.
Have you ever thought about him? It's a revenge
can-
series.
You can have the Thunder. You can have Tough Mudder. You can have something.
Oh, gotcha.
Thunder in 5.
Lakers in 5.
Thunder in 5.
Thunders in 5. All right.
You know, there only 783,000 people live in Winnipeg. We could have an NHL team here.
Wow.
We have 3 skyscrapers.
Yeah. How many does Winnipeg have?
They are not skyscrapers.
No,
They are not. They are not.
They
remotely
scrape
tall
They
enough.
the
scrape
sky.
the sky. Have you seen when it's foggy?
It doesn't even get into an asterisk cloud or whatever, a stratus cloud. It's not even. It's nowhere near scraping.
A
the sky.
stratus or cirrus?
I don't know, man.
Those are like the
Nimbus?
highest ones.
They don't get to them. That's why they call them skyscrapers, because they get to those clouds.
Just wait till it gets
Because
foggy out.
I don't know if you know this, Connor,
can
but
only
in
see
some
half the building.
cities, you can't see the top of the building because the clouds cover them,
Feels
which
like a
is why
safety
we
hazard.
call them skyscrapers,
Yeah, that's
in
only if
which
the weather
Omaha
permits.
has 0.
It's only if the weather permits.
It's okay, man. You like your tiny baby little buildings. I like
do.
big buildings.
I take great pride in those tiny baby buildings.
Yes.
I
That
love
are
them.
very easily. I mean, you could rappel down all the buildings in Omaha.
People will be they pay extra money
I
for
don't think you'd want to do FNBO.
they pay
I could
extra
do it.
money for those
I could do
those seats down the left field line at the College World Series.
Yeah.
Because they want to just marvel at the beauty of the skyline.
Honestly, if Clayton
and they'll
is
say, "Wow, look at those 2.5 skyscrapers. Those are skyscrapers."
look at those
In all
slightly
honesty,
bigger
that
buildings.
is a great seat.
The 300
Yeah.
seats down the left field line,
Mhm.
up there a little bit. Those are great. Those are great.
If Clayton repels before me, I feel like I can rappel down any building in Omaha.
I got his phone number here. You want me to?
Yeah, we can.
Clayton who?
Clayton Anderson.
Oh,
The Nebraska not.
that's right.
You want me to just text him? Hey, FNBO next.
Yeah, you should.
You
You're like
up?
you should rappel down the FNBO building with my friend Matt.
Yeah. I think you'd be smart and say no.
Absolutely not. I would not rappel down another building.
I mean,
am
you
good.
already rappelled down a really tall building.
Some people were like, "Oh, you were up there a while at the beginning. Were you really looking around and taking in the scene?" And I go, no.
That
I
was
was
the last thing
freaking
I
out.
wanted. Yeah.
I was freaking out, and I didn't want to go very fast, and I was trying to figure out how to rappel. And so that's why I went slow.
You do it enough times, soon enough, you'll go on top of a building and you'll say, "Give me my rope. I want to rappel."
Hell,
We'll take you out on the
no.
roof for the College World
Oh,
Series. You'll be like,
shout
"Let
out-
me rappel."
Let me tell you something right now. Shout out to Billy the Blue Jay, because
Goat.
he rappelled down the building in full costume, and kudos to that.
It's been a big
that
week for
human.
Billy.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a
I
big
mean,
week for Billy.
that-
Billy got a
I'm-
suit jacket for the Billies.
Yeah.
which is an award show named after him, and then he got to rappel off a building with Matt.
I was talking to Billy in the elevator, and I was kind of making some jokes.
Was Billy talking back?
Speaks?
Billy, I got Billy to laugh. Like I could hear Billy laughing through the costume because I was like, hey, like I'm scared S-less. I can imagine what you're going through right now in that suit. And he started dying. And then we got to the waivers where you have to sign your waiver. And I looked at him and I go, do you sign Billy, the Blue Jay? Like, what do you sign here? You know?
What did you sign?
They had us get dressed first, and then we were escorted out, and Billy was in his own room. Like they cleared out the room for Billy to get dressed. So we weren't allowed to see Billy get dressed. So I don't know what he signed or anything like that.
Maybe it was a different Billy.
But it was very secretive.
Do you know who Billy is?
There's a few.
There's a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Because we were talking earlier. This is like with graduation going on.
Oh my
The
God. The
mascots
mascot reveals. Dear God.
Are you not a fan?
There's so many of
You
them.
call me a negative Nancy?
Hey,
yeah,
did you-
there's a lot of mascots.
So the first one I saw was Ohio State.
yeah, that's the
And
big
Brutus was a female this past year. You
Why
don't
does-
like him?
Why does that make a difference?
Well, because
I think people
Like, if
assume
you
that
look
most
at-
mascots are male. for
Oh,
whatever
poll
reason.
question. Do you assume that there's a male inside of the mascot costume?
I
Ooh.
think
Yes.
that's why there was
Yeah.
a shock. That's why it was
okay,
so
so no, I'll
big.
give you an example.
That's exactly why.
So first of all, she was incredible
1
because
point
the
for me.
moves she was making. I used to be in the world where we selected the mascots at Nebraska.
Yeah.
And they would do it. Everybody, like the Final Four, would get a quarter of the spring game to go out and perform. And we brought this one young lady out in the Herbie outfit. And immediately a little 12-year-old kid goes, "There's a girl inside of that."
oh my God, Lord,
And I was like, we kept it moving,
Who cares?
kept it moving.
Dude,
and,
I've talked
and she actually ended up being one of the Herbies that year.
Oh wow.
But no, I would have never, if I would have watched Brutus all year, which is probably, I don't know, the most well-known mascot on TV.
Up there.
Like it's
I
shown
mean,
all the time.
The Penn State
Sure.
one. Penn State.
I've seen
or
the Suns
BYU?
gorilla a lot less lately.
Is it BYU or Penn State that has or
BYU.
both? Yeah,
BYU.
BYU.
Yeah,
is the real
BY
famous
Cosmo.
one.
I think
yeah.
it's Cosmo.
Cosmo, the
Is-
cougar. Yeah.
But I would have thought that it was a male because of some of the moves.
She was
And-
good.
wow.
Reveals that she's a female.
I've
and I'm like,
never
that's
thought
awesome.
about it.
And
I
then
always
she was
look
in
at
that was a really she sent some cool pictures. Like she was in a Toyota commercial, you know, like she did like a national because like Brutus pops up in national commercials and she was able to do that. I was like, what a perk. That's gotta be like a competitive job to be Brutus the mascot.
oh, there's scholarships and
Is there scholarships?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
cheerleaders get scholarships.
big time.
Hey, that's like, look at the cheer organizations.
Well,
Send your kid there
Minnesota's
and-
like Minnesota's dance team, like that they are absolutely incredible. I love it. Like
Yeah.
during the January, February month, there's always like all those college dance teams pop up on Instagram. They have actually really impressive recitals,
Billy,
performances.
male or female inside the costume?
I believe,
Careful,
depending on the day, male.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this one was a male, I think. He's got. I don't know. I
Oh, but
didn't see it.
the costume is like built with shoulder pads, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Now
there's
they
some
did
padding
have
there.
this. Billy did have small feet,
Oh.
smaller feet. Billy.
Interesting.
This is an observation I made.
Good
It's like,
scouting
oh,
report.
those are like size
Has
7.
Billy dunked in a while,
I don't think this Billy.
or did
could
they
dunk.
say?
Yeah, we had Billy Duncan at a game this year,
Okay.
jumping off a trampoline and
Good,
dunking.
good.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to jump off a trampoline and dunk it and do that, but I know that I would hurt myself.
That was a different. I mean, that was a special Billy though.
Oh,
We
gotcha.
just-
Oh,
gotcha.
Special Billy.
You called him Bango the Buck. To,
He's like a mercenary Billy. Came
it's like
in,
a transfer portal Billy.
came in, dunked.
Hey, sometimes
See
you
ya.
know, like when at the wrestling event over at Ralston Arena, they had special Durango.
Special Durango. Durango is good for some shenanigans at the
Durango,
College
hey,
World Series every year.
Durango's on the hot seat because
Durango pushing that little kid out of the way at the
That
World
was
Series.
hilarious.
They made up a couple of days later.
No, that was a good thing. That was epic.
Durango was
they got
supposed
so
to.
much. They got so much negative
Oh, I know. I
press
bet.
over that.
Durango was supposed to rappel down the building. At least that's what
Oh.
I was told. And Durango decided not to. So,
Well, they could have just.
what, you don't like
go
the
to the
Savannah
costume.
Bananas?
No. I
You're-
like when baseball players don't have their sleeves rolled
You
up
don't
to their
you
shoulders.
Don't, you don't like. You
All
don't
right.
like
Why is
dancing?
it such a crime? to like with the
Oh,
players.
Hey, Mr. Uniform Police, I can't wait to hear your take on what Nebraska was wearing yesterday.
They always do that, and I don't know why. Why do they do that on Sundays?
That was a unique uniform they had yesterday.
Black socks and black helmets, and with the
With
rest of the
black
jersey is just
piping?
red. I don't know, man. Just wear a black jersey. Like, it's cool.
What they need to do is they need to bring back the sleeveless Nebraska gray
No.
jerseys that they'd wear the red undershirts.
Yeah, but wear sleeves underneath.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't be the Savannah Bananas.
So, like, do they do this mid? They do this mid game. I take it, right?
This is the game. This is the
Yeah,
game.
you know, different strokes for different folks, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for them.
All right. See you guys later.
You're going to lose your mind when you see the Savannah Bananas playing.
Are
at-
you also
at the
not?
K.
I'm also not a Savannah.
Oh, I am
banana.
the most anti-Savannah
Yeah,
Banana
I am
person.
not a
They're
fan.
playing at the K
Wow,
this
look
summer.
at us agreeing.
Common
Handshake
ground.
Meme. Handshake meme. No scoreboard anymore.
No, I won. I won
One
during
point
this-
apiece.
No, I got the sky. I killed you on the skyscraper.
All right, that's a crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in
Dominated you on
Omaha.
that.
Everlevelconcrete.com. It's Monday. We'll start things off next.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. Welcome back from a long weekend of sunshine, staring up into the sky, and seeing a lot of PJs. A lot of PJs. You see the pile of PJs this weekend?
I can only imagine.
Oh, there was a pile of PJs. Coming off of the weekend where good old Uncle Warren says, I think I'll hang it up now. What a classic move by Warren Buffett. He's like, here's the deal. I got two things I got to say this weekend. Number one, I think it's probably best that coming soon at some point, I will not be in charge of the day-to-day of Berkshire Hathaway anymore. Okay. Wow. Did he just say that? Was that real? Yeah, I think we got the other guy, Craig. He's going to be fine.
The 94-year-old said no mas?
Yeah, no mas. No more. The other thing he said was, hey, what do you think about it? He was asked, what do you think about all this market volatility right now? And he's like, this is nothing. I'm 94 years old. It's nothing.
I'm good.
Yeah. Classic Warren Buffett. It's amazing. And he's probably right. Not to get too political. I don't know. He's probably right.
Well, I think he's probably also in a position where he can't go, oh my gosh, what is this?
But he downplays it. He suppresses it. Right? That's Omaha for you right
Everybody's going to be fine.
That's Omaha for you. So I did drive by. I think it was Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. There was a lot more activity around Warren's house on Saturday. Yeah, indeed.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, it was a big night. It was a big weekend for Omaha. Glad we got the blue skies and we got a good week ahead.
Oh, we rolled out the good weather for him.
Man, baseball. This is a big week for both Nebraska and Creighton in baseball. And what do you know? They're going to meet each other tomorrow night for the final time. This season. Big deal. A lot on the line. Maybe less so on the line in that game than there is this weekend for each of those teams. Nebraska hosting Michigan, Creighton hosting Xavier this weekend. Elsewhere on the show today, the Luck Index is here.
Andrew Luck has his own index?
That's right.
Wow.
We'll tell you who in college football is Bill Callahan and Scott Frost wrapped into one person.
Okay.
Scott Frost is interviewed by the ESPN, and shockingly, he is still not taking any responsibility for his actions. I'm shocked to hear this. What
do you guys mean when you say people don't change?
Sharon Moore will suspend himself for the Nebraska game.
Bold move.
Yeah, interesting. Definitely got to get to that Caitlin Clark thing.
Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry.
Round ball rock, Mike Tirico's nut allergy. We get a lot. We got a lot coming up on the show today. We'll probably not get to it all, but we do have some space. Mike Schaefer will join the show coming up at 11:30. We'll talk about his weekend and some recruiting things as well. Nebraska got an in-state recruit. In-state recruits, hashtag back, folks.
You thought they didn't matter.
No Sam McEwen today.
Whoa.
But he's going to. We'll bump Sam back. He's taking a couple days off, and so I said, Sam, how about Thursday?
Whoa.
He's gonna join the show on Thursday.
Okay.
Let's look ahead to that. We definitely won't forget about that. And I know that Brunson's out still this week. We definitely won't forget about that.
I remembered last week.
Yeah. All right. That's the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you guys. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline.
Wow.
Folks.
Beautiful.
Would you look at that? The Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. We are happy that Prairie Flower is on board. You can call or text that number 402-951-1620. And I want to remind you that in that, each week we'll be giving out a $100 gift card to Prairie Flower Casino. And you can enter to win that contest at 1620thezone.com. I know you like going to Prairie Flower Casino, Josh.
100 bones?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of shrimps.
You can email into the show, Connor, Josh Show at 1620thezone.com, the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. We did get a tweet on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed this weekend from 402 Puck, who saw a tweet of a person, all their bumper stickers on their car said honk, 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 honk. Official vehicle of the Happer show. Honk, honk, honk. Speaking of honking, honk, honk. Greg McDermott and the Huss Bus both talking today. Both have spoken.
They have spoken.
They have spoken. This conversation, I believe, is over.
Whoa.
Huss said, "This is done.
Shutting this down.
We're not talking about this anymore." Creighton will get to work in continuing to build its roster and prepare for the season. They have the most qualified top assistant coach in the country for a little while at least. Anything else? Any other way to? Oh yes, of course, the YouTube stream. Hello, YouTubers. How we doing, everybody? Jimmy writes in. He's very negative about baseball.
Whoa.
LOL. Big week for what? Neither squad will win in June, but I guess for around here, it's a big week. That's right.
We got to talk about something that's actually happening. That's,
Well, listen.
Kind of let me pull the curtain back a little
Both
bit.
teams have put themselves in position to have a big weekend. There are stakes this weekend. Nebraska baseball really needs to take 2 out of 3 at least from Michigan. Creighton baseball, if they beat Xavier 2 out of 3 this weekend, at least they're going to be in excellent position to win the Big East regular season title, regardless of what you think that means. I know we could talk about Butler being very bad, and I understand. It's true. Very bad. Not good. Creighton scored like 50 runs this weekend against Butler. But you play the schedule that you're given, and Creighton's going to have an opportunity to do that. And then, of course, like I said, they'll meet tomorrow for the final time this year. Also, it is the final home weekend for Coach Ed's service.
Oh, senior day.
Senior day, the whole thing. Grady weekend. It's the whole deal for Creighton baseball. So a big week for both of those schools. And yes, it is big. All right. I won't hear any other way. So thank you for getting in touch with the show today. We'd love to hear from you all show long. Let's light this candle, Josh. We'll do that after this on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys?
Well, sometimes, and we know this around here, you can't have it all. But it was setting up to be a hell of a 3 hours for the city of Denver this weekend. 2 Game 7s going on at once, going on with their hockey team and their basketball team. And they had a plan for what the front cover of the Denver Post would look like the next day. And
really?
I'll flash that up on the screen right now
Okay.
here, Josh. It conveniently fits perfectly right on our screen. You see that? It looks great. It looks amazing. So the whole thing was going to be seventh heaven. But then it ended up being a little bit of seventh hell as well for the Colorado Avalanches.
Which of these columns did Woody Page write?
I don't think he's really doing much anymore.
Oh, really? More of a figurehead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interestingly enough. But the Avs were about to, get rid of some playoff demons a little bit. And then one of their own, Mikko Rantanen. That's right, Josh. I just said a hockey player on this show.
What is happening?
He just ripped off 1 billion goals in 10 seconds, and the Dallas Stars ended up winning in 7. But at least the Nuggets got it done. It's just a good lesson, Josh, and it's good perspective. You can't have it all. 2 Game 7s in the same day for the same city.
That's got to be a buzz, just a buzz, right?
I assume they had great weather. It's always sunny in Denver. Looking how it was looking for a minute, and apparently that indeed was too good to be true. Too good to be true. But could you imagine 2 Game 7s in the same day for the same city? And it was looking like they were going to, have 2 celebrations at the end. Obviously, you're not talking about championships here, but you're talking about advancing in the playoffs. And anytime you do it in a Game 7, it's pretty cool and fun. And it was almost the most fun for Denver until they got their hearts ripped out. Tough deal.
That would be a high anxiety day. If only there was something that the Denver residents could take
to chill out a little bit.
Yeah, just to take the edge off.
I'm told that they have different kinds of that. So if you want your excitement to be, if you want your excitement to be more intensified, there's an option for you. But if you want to chill out a little bit, there's also an option for you there. This is just what I'm told. I mean, science, they can offer all sorts of things. So Denver, you can't have it all. Well, you tried.
How dare you?
Over the weekend. And of course, this puts us in our very, very weird period of the basketball playoffs and the hockey playoffs where there's Game 7s and Game 1s that are overlapping. Not anymore, though. Not in basketball anyway. We'll have 2 Game 1s tonight. Knicks and Celtics. Bing bong.
Not on my watch. Won't be binging or bonging.
What about Jalen Brunson burner? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this, Josh? He was cooking like a Brunson burner.
I am familiar. I'm also very familiar that the Celtics have beaten the ever living crap out of the Knicks this season.
I don't expect anything to change in that category, but it's always fun when Boston and New York get together in a playoff series.
Yeah.
And Nuggets Thunder starting immediately tonight. So 1 day off, and you're right into the next playoff series for the Denver Nuggets, who still are employers of Nikola Jokic.
That's right.
At least for the time being.
People forget. We don't know who their coach is, but that doesn't matter.
And sometimes employers of Jamal Murray, who is sometimes the Human Torch.
Sometimes.
He can get
That's
cooking.
better than no times.
He can get cooking.
Yeah.
He can get cooking, so you never know what you're going to see in that series. And that is the extent of our NBA and NHL coverage today on the show, Josh, unless you have anything else to add.
I don't know. We should probably mention that the Winnipeg Jets won a game 7 in double overtime yesterday.
Did you see how the regulation ended, though?
I did.
1 second. Boop. Imagine giving up a goal with 1 second. Couldn't happen to a better city. St. Louis, crap hole. You hate to see it. You hate to see it, don't you?
My man's is rooting for Canada over St. Louis.
100%.
Yeah.
Put me on the board for that.
Poll question?
Poll question. Who would you rather root for? The country of Canada or the city of St. Louis. 100% of the time, give me Canada. St. Louis, what are we doing? And then we had the Kentucky Derby this weekend.
We did.
Where the NBA or the NBC just made this a 3-hour promotional, 3, 5, 7 hour, who knows, promotional deal for Round Ball Rock.
They really did.
And Mike Tirico has a nut allergy. Did we know about Tirico's nut allergy before?
First I heard of it.
I don't think that I had heard of it before.
Are you saying it's a convenient excuse for something else?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay.
I definitely believe that Mike Tirico has a nut allergy.
Okay.
I don't know. That just seems to fit for me. I can't really explain it. But if you're telling me that Mike Tirico has a nut allergy, I'm like, okay, yeah, I see that. I don't know why. I don't know what stereotype I would attach that to or anything like that. I just feel like if you're telling me Mike Tirico has a nut allergy, I'm like, yeah, that actually seems right. So he had a bad reaction to a nut allergy and had to step away. But he's cool. He got it taken care of. And a horse won the race. Sovereignty beat journalism, Josh, and there were many puns on the internet about that result.
Too many, I would say.
I would say too many as well.
The most watched Derby since 1989.
What is up with the children? I mean, they are really. It's, have we turned the Kentucky Derby into the Waste Management Open?
Oh, now there's a good question.
I mean, it's getting pretty ragged in there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
some of those shots that I saw, you got the rain and all of the drinking and the disgustingness. I feel like that event used to have some decorum.
I would kind of chalk a lot of that up to the weather.
Yeah.
Hey, we got all dressed up and we're standing here like a bunch of idiots. Give me a drink.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. They're always, it always looks like that nowadays. I'm worried. I'm worried about what we've done to the Kentucky Derby.
I'm glad you're worried about it and you don't just go, hey, it's the Kentucky Derby. Who cares?
Guess who was there? Matt Rule.
Matt Rule was at the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was wearing a big hat.
I would like to see this big hat.
I should have taken a screenshot. He puts a lot of this on his IG story. And I saw this over the weekend and I was kind of just in a place where I didn't really want to pay attention to what Matt Rule was doing, but it did catch my eye,
Okay.
I just really didn't want to pay attention. I just didn't want to think about Husker football really at the moment that I was in.
Sure.
And so I just skipped through it, but I did make a mental note. Matt Rule, Kentucky Derby, big hat, suit, the whole thing. Yeah.
Oh, one of the aggregators has to have this.
Oh,
right?
I'm sure it's out there. Oh, I'm sure it's definitely out there. Black Cat writes in.
Hi, Black Cat.
The infield is the party for D-gens. The actual seats/suites are still classy adjacent. But it's still like, it's not like, I mean, there is a combination, but there's a lot more new money now, the young rich people who have gotten rich from TikTok and things of that nature.
Oh yeah.
And the young athletes, they'll always go to the Kentucky Derby. I don't know. It's just it's. I mean, I'm sure it's the same as it's always been. But congratulations! I'm sure you're listening. Sovereignty winning the Kentucky Derby.
The horse?
Yes.
You think the horse is listening?
Absolutely. I assume it takes in all the coverage after it's basking in the glory of what it's done.
Is this like horse baby making music? The Connor Happer show?
No, why do you think it has to? No, it's not doing it. It just wants to. It got the roses and all the things tossed upon it at the end of the race and got a nice bath or shower or whatever that they do to clean up the horses from all the mud. And then it's like, you know what? I want to read my press clippings today. I won that thing.
That's what today's for sovereignty.
It's for sovereignty. And then, you got to lock back in for the Belmont coming up in a couple weeks. But right now you get to celebrate. For the horses, it's not the 24-hour rule. It's more like the week rule. You get to really bask in it for a little while.
Yeah, there's a little time in between this and the next one.
All right. We have many Husker topics to get to today.
Okay.
By the way, you could vote on our poll questions. We have one coming up right now. Who would you rather root for, St. Louis or the country of Canada.
Interested to see how that one comes back.
Me too. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, a couple items here in which Scott Frost comes up. So
Scofro?
we're just gonna slam it all into one segment here.
Okay.
We got Scott Frost conversation here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. But there is a question first from Headley.
Hi, Headley.
Important question, Connor. How many pounds of cheese could you consume for $1 million?
Oh.
What do you mean? What kind of question is that? Like I could just give me one slice of cheese. Thanks. I'll take the $1 million. What
Yeah, you got to go low on this.
do you mean what kind? How many pounds of cheese?
2 feels like too many.
Yeah, like if they say, all right, you have to eat 4 pounds of cheese and you could get $1 million, could you do that? Yeah, it's $1 million. I think I could get to 4 pounds of cheese. I go to the store and I say I want first time I got the sliced cheese actually from behind the counter, I was like, can I have a half pound? And they were like, you really want a half pound of cheese? How many people live in your house? And I'm like, well, it's just me, basically. Me and my wife are eating this cheese.
Mhm.
And they're like, you don't need a half pound. It's like a quarter pound of cheese. That sounds a little bit better.
What's a cheese weigh?
It's like 10 slices, it's like a quarter pound of cheese.
Okay. That feels like enough.
Headley says if I said 10 pounds, looking for the ceiling of the amount of cheese that you could eat. If you could eat
No.
10, could you eat 10 pounds of cheese for $1 million? If they said at the end of this rainbow, you get $1 million. I don't think that I could physically eat 10 pounds of cheese certainly not in one sitting, but even over a day. I mean, I'm coming off a weekend in which my stomach is, you were
eating good.
I imbibed this weekend. So I don't want to think about eating 10 pounds of cheese right now.
Jays were on the road.
Oh, yeah. Connor Happer was living it up.
Mm-hmm.
Living it up around town. My stomach and my wallet suffered greatly this weekend. All right. So, by the way, I've just received a text from a cheese enjoyer. I get 3/4 pounds of cheese every time. 3/4 of a pound of cheese every time
For the week?
I don't know how often that is.
Okay.
But every time this person goes to the store, this person gets 0.75 pounds of cheese.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this person eats cheese
Uh-huh.
at least twice, maybe 3 times the rate at which I eat cheese.
I'm guessing there's more people in that person's house.
There
than
are.
yours.
I think there are. Anyway, it's from cheese to Scott Frost. He comes up twice this weekend, Josh. There was, this is every 2 weeks, by the way, sharp cheddar and Gouda.
Fancy.
CBS Sports ranked the college football's 15 worst coaching hires of the past decade. Who do you think showed up on this list?
Oh, I'm going to guess Scott Frost.
Not just Scott Frost, but also Mike Riley.
Oh, yeah. That one wasn't great.
Nebraska,
either.
that's right, is the owner of 2 of the worst hires of the last decade. 2 in 1 decade. You can afford 1. You can't really have 2.
Does that kind of make it better? Like, okay, it explains the huge chasm Nebraska's trying to step out of.
Okay, there's a lot of arms to that question, Josh. There's a lot of arms to what you just said.
Okay.
I would say that Scott Frost was not a bad hire.
No. I would agree.
Obviously, they're playing the results here.
Mhm.
It did not go well.
Right.
It did not go well.
Maybe one of the 15 worst tenures.
Maybe. I assume that's kind of what they're doing. So they had this. They had Chris Ash at Rutgers, who won 8 games in 4 years.
Whew.
That's bad. I used to call him Chris Ass.
Okay. That makes sense.
Nick Rolovich at Washington State is on here, but he got fired because he didn't agree with the COVID policies.
Oh.
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he got fired after only 1 season. Then it's Frost, 16-31. Kevin Sumlin at Arizona went 9-20 over 3 years.
All right.
Mel Tucker, not a bad hire. Dinenwell, not a bad hire.
Yeah.
Didn't end well. Not a bad hire.
Uh-huh.
Brian Harsin, probably a bad hire.
Mhm.
Probably a bad hire. Obviously didn't go well and probably not very good at Auburn. Herm Edwards, probably not great hiring practices.
Yeah.
Once
yeah.
again. Jimmy Lake.
Jimmy Lake.
Jimmy Lake at Washington.
Oh.
He was, I'll give him a little break because Chris Peterson that was sort of abrupt. Like, I don't know that we saw that one coming. And then it was like, hey, you hand it off to Jimmy Lake and he'll be able to keep it going. He did not. And then it was COVID. And then everything else got messed up.
You remember COVID, don't you?
I do remember COVID.
America.
I do remember. Mike Riley, 19-19 in 3 seasons at Nebraska.
19-19.
That's not bad. Jeff Collins, 10-28 at Georgia Tech. That is Matt Rule adjacent.
Oh.
Jeff Collins.
Whoa.
Jeremy Pruitt, Tennessee. This one was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
That one was pretty bad. Willie Taggart, also bad.
Yeah.
At Florida State. Ryan Walters at Purdue. Just got done going 5-19 over 2 years. Bad.
Yeah.
And that seems like we're still in it right now, and Barry Odom hasn't coached a game yet, but borderline irreparable. Like, I don't know how Purdue gets out of the current. I mean, they were already in a hole because they were Purdue, and then that hire went so magnificently poorly, and yeah, I don't know how they get out of that hole.
You give Drew Brees a do-nothing GM job, and you're back on your feet.
Now, here's a bad hire. This is number 1 for me.
Oh.
Les Miles at Kansas.
Okay.
Now, that's a bad hire, folks. That's a bad hire. I will never forget watching that documentary that they put together.
What time did the girls play?
What was going on at that job at that time was unbelievably bad. The incompetency levels knew no bounds for Les Miles at Kansas from 2019 and 2020. And Chad Morris takes the cake for going 4-18 at Arkansas in 2 years in 2018 and 2019. So I think there's a mix of what's going on here. There's some bad hires. There's some bad results. I will maintain that Scott Frost was not a bad hire. It worked out very badly.
Match made in heaven, right? Like obvious choice.
So let me ask you this. Here's what it says about Frost, by the way, and this is we're going to get into another Frost thing in a second. What it says, this is by Will Backus, I believe, of CBS Sports.
Hi, Will.
At the time, Frost was a significant hire for Nebraska. He was fresh off a 13-0 season after downing Gus Malzahn's Auburn in the Peach Bowl. And as we'll see later on this list, a lot of Nebraska's early struggles in Frost's tenure weren't necessarily his fault. It's not Scott Frost's fault.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
But the high point of Frost's tenure was a 5-7 2019 campaign. I would actually disagree. I actually think it was the 3-9 2021 campaign. But anyway, he never made a bowl game and won a total of, what are you doing? Oh my God, Pat McAfee is doing the show from the CHI Health Center right now?
Yeah, Raw is in Omaha tonight, which means Pat McAfee is in Omaha tonight.
Well, I should get him to stop by. He loves talking about sports.
He loves talking.
Anyway, he never made a bowl game and won a total of 7 games in his final 3 years. If Nebraska already had one foot in the grave before Frost got there, he ensured the once proud Huskers were 6 feet under by the time he left. I disagree with that. I don't think that's true. And not to put this all on Riley because it wasn't, but there was. I don't think Nebraska was that much, if at all, worse off when Frost got fired than they were when he got hired. In fact, I think they were. In fact, I think they were actually kind of better off. Now, I'm mostly talking about from a roster standpoint. And keep in mind that stuff can change overnight with the transfer portal and NIL and all those things now. But I don't think that's a particularly fair representation of like if Mike Riley dug the grave, then Scott Frost buried it, or whatever. Like, I don't think that's right. I don't think that is an accurate representation of how that went.
I'm thinking. I'm sorry. That's bad radio.
No, I don't. Go ahead, ponder it.
Yeah, I think Riley's thing, I guess, was he couldn't convince the good players to come play for him, right? And
I think both coaches had a lot of other stuff going on and had these weird agendas, and they had weird bosses. And
that one's true.
I just don't know. I don't know. When I think about why Nebraska football has been the way it has been over the last 20 years, a lot of it has been due to not the coaches. It's weird because we just, Rule just talks about, hey, look, man, we just got to get our part right. We got to get the football part right. But we've seen it. In order for the football part to get right, you have to, there has to be a linear, agreement kind of from top to bottom on what you are and what you're going to be as a program. And you have to know, like you have to answer those questions. So I think part of those coaches' failures was that they weren't able to succinctly answer those questions. What are we? What are we going to be? What do we want to be? And I mean, in Frost's case, I think he changed it a little bit throughout his time, which did not serve him well. We're to talk about that as it pertains to the Wisconsin head coach a little bit later on in the show too. So once again, I don't know. I will always go to bat for it wasn't the mistake that Nebraska made wasn't hiring Scott Frost. It wasn't, in my opinion.
No.
Could have gone better. And then there is the responsibility of the coach himself of what happened when he was here. And that brings us to an article on ESPN from Andrea Adelson, who sat down with Scott Frost. Scott Frost walks into the UCF football building and into his office, the one he used the last time he had this job 8 years ago. The shades are drawn just like they used to be. There are drawings from his 3 kids tacked to the walls.
Whoa, we're not talking about his family.
No, we are now. There are still trophies sitting on a shelf. He still parks in the same spot before he walks into that building and sits at the same desk. The only thing that has changed is the desk is positioned in a different part of the room. But the man doing all the same things at UCF is a different Scott Frost than the one who left following the undefeated 2017 season to take the head coaching job at Nebraska. Well, why? It's a question. Why is he different? Frost said, quote, I know I'm a wiser person and a smarter football coach. When you're young, you think you have it all figured out. I don't think you really get better as a person unless you go through some really good things and really bad things. I just know that I'm where I'm supposed to be. There's plenty more. Since his return, Frost has had to adjust to changes to college football, but said, I love coming into work every day. We've got the right kids who love football. Such a great Scott Frost line. We're working them hard. They want to be pushed. They want to be challenged. We get to practice with palm trees and sunshine, and we're playing big-time football. But it's also just not the constant stress of a meat grinder of some other places.
Like, I can say these kids are puking here, and it won't be a thing.
Yes,
because nobody covers the University of Central Florida.
He was always adamant during his time here, like, hey, the kids want to be coached. We're working them hard.
Yeah.
They want to be coached.
They want me to stuff them in a locker.
So here reads the story. The meat grinder of some other places. Might he mean a place such as Nebraska?
There's no place like it.
You can think what you want, Frost said. One thing I told myself, I'm never going to talk about that. It just doesn't feel good to talk about. I'll get asked 100 questions. This is about UCF. I just don't have anything to say. I'll continue. There's a couple more quotes in here, but the context is important. Frost said that he has no regrets about leaving UCF, even though he didn't get the results he had hoped for at his alma mater. When Nebraska decided to part ways with Mike Riley in 2017, Frost seemed the best, most obvious candidate to replace him. He had been the starting quarterback on the 97 team, the last Nebraska team to win a national title. He now had the coaching resume to match. Frost had done the unthinkable at UCF, taking a program that was winless the season before he arrived to undefeated in the talk of college football just 2 years later. But he could not ignore the pull of Nebraska and the opportunities that came along with power conference football. Quote, I was so happy here, Frost said, here beating at UCF. We went undefeated and we didn't get a chance to win a championship, at least on the field. You're always striving to reach higher goals. I had always told myself I wasn't going to leave here unless there was a place that you could legitimately go and win a national championship. It was a tough decision because I didn't want to leave regardless of which place it was. Indeed, Frost maintains he was always happy at UCF, but he also knew returning to Nebraska would make others happy too. Quote, I think I kind of knew that wasn't best for me. It was what some other people wanted me to do to some degree. There's more, Josh, but that's a good stopping point.
Okay.
What do you think about that line?
Other people wanted me to be the Nebraska head coach, so I became the Nebraska head coach.
There is no doubt that he felt that pull. And when we talk about this now, and by the way, it is the summer, so it's a good time to talk about it. Look at old things with the proper amount of context and hindsight now. I always think, like, in hindsight, people always ask, like, how could we have known? How could we have known that it was going to work out the way it did? And there is one thing that I could say in that category. There is one thing. It's not something I would have noticed at the time or thought about at the time. Maybe some others did. Everything pointed to Frost, and I think Nebraska's sole mission was to go out and get him by any means necessary. And they brought out the big guns, right? The meeting in Philadelphia and the cheese. It wasn't just the cheesesteaks. And then having Davison come and Osborne, make his plea as well. He really did have to be convinced. He really did have to be convinced.
Okay.
It was not that he certainly didn't like, hey, this is no questions asked. This is an open shut deal. I'm going. Everybody thought that about him, but clearly he looks back at it now and is like, hey, no, I liked it here and I didn't want to leave. But he definitely had to be convinced. And so now I think the disappointing part is he looks back at it now and says, well, I did that, I did that for other people and it wasn't, you have the option to not. You have the you have the option to not take the job. So I do think it lacks a little bit of responsibility, something that he is, he doesn't talk about this a lot, but he always has sort of lacked that accountability.
Well,
piece.
Even when he says, I'm never going to talk about this.
Yeah.
That kind of tells you, well, why would you not talk about it? Is it because you revere Nebraska so much? Or because if you do talk about it, we're going to learn some of the things we suspect and joke about here on the radio.
I just wish that he would take some responsibility. Because ultimately,
not ready.
Once he took over, yes, sure. But maybe, that's another thing where he could look at it and say, oh, well, that's a thing that doesn't affect, that's something that I have no control over. But once you get here and once you do take the job, it is yours.
Mm-hmm.
And then you are in charge of how it works and what happens. And that never gets talked about. It's always the circumstances in which, it's the same crap as oh man, if we would have played the Akron game, we would have been good.
Yep.
Like how it started obviously got off to a bad start, but you are still responsible.
You're the one on the stick, man.
You got to find a way to figure it out, regardless of the circumstances. And if you don't like the circumstances, then fix them, because this is what it is. And I know he did. Like when he came back, he loves Nebraska. He loved Nebraska, right? So I don't know. You just never felt like he worked that part of it enough.
Mm-hmm.
And now thinking about it later, it leaves people a little hollow when he doesn't take any responsibility or accountability for it. Or it is like, well, yeah, other people wanted me to do it, so I guess I did it, whatever. I'm going to be better here now because I'm better now.
He, at the very least, never learned how to cope with the meat grinder.
Yeah. I think I would agree. I think everybody would agree that he also didn't handle it very well either. But that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
That's where to really know when Frost is like, all right, I've made peace with this. It's like, yeah, I could have done some things better. That's it. We haven't heard that. We haven't heard that.
I know people listening probably think, well, they want their pound of flesh from Scott Frost. I really don't. For his own personal growth, I really just want him to go, you know what?
Exactly.
That was kind of a disaster.
Yeah. He should probably take some accountability. Mm-hmm. He should probably take some responsibility. That's all. So there's another thing where Scott Frost will come up a little bit later on in the show. But I wanted to dive into that right off the bat because those were two things where it came up. I'd happily talk about that all summer long. I'm sure it'll do us a lot of good to just recount the Scott Frost era the entire time.
We can go game by game over the summer.
Well, it could be fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like an idea for the Omaha Baseball Village.
Try to figure out the low point.
Yeah. I'm never going to talk about it. Never going to talk about it. Got an email from Adam.
Hi, Adam.
Exactly. If Frost would simply say something along the lines of, I probably wasn't ready for the NU job, didn't appreciate everything that went into it, and if I could do it over, I would do things differently. If he would just say that, this would go away, and no one would want to talk. No one would care about talking about it anymore. Yeah.
Now I want the Omaha World Herald to send a guy to Orlando every week,
but nobody would ever talk to him
about it.
Yeah. It's weird, but he can make it unweird pretty quickly.
Mhm.
All right, we're back with Mike Schaefer coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Come the Guardians.
Yeah, I have statistics to back up that we have people that listen.
Mike Schaefer.
Anytime there's sort of a debate as to who can do something, Happer would always put his name forth. For sure.
Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I could be a star.
That's right. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline by Mike Schaefer of Husker 247. Schaefer, hello. How are you?
I am good. I was telling Josh, you caught me. I'm like halfway through finishing up a mow that has to get done before the people can come and spray and aerate. So it's a nice little intermission for me.
Okay. Now I have a couple suggestions for you. Number one, be careful with where you're placing the collection bag. Be careful not to trip over it.
Not a concern. We are mulching today. So as soon as that's done, I got to go spray down the sidewalk with a leaf blower, get the clippings off of the communal spaces so people can walk to and fro without issue.
That's good. Okay. And what a perfect day to well, are you a gas mow guy or a lib machine guy?
I am insulted you would even ask.
Gas mow guy.
Clearly gas mower.
Okay, good.
I don't have a cord just following me around everywhere.
That's what we like to call a vacuum cleaner. Exactly, Schaefer. Thank you. So what a perfect day out there. Can we get the Mike Schaefer weather report from North Kansas City?
It's absolutely beautiful. I would recommend whatever you're doing, just stop doing it and go outside.
I would love to stop doing this.
Your business owners, the people who pay your salary, they would understand because they should be outside too. Everyone should be outside right now. The children should not be learning unless it is outside. Everyone outside.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what would happen on 1620 The Zone if we just got up and left, but we could make something work.
You can go mobile. You just get the headset, get an extension cord, just sit right there with a couple lawn chairs and talk about the traffic on Dodge and how beautiful it is outside.
I remember one time, Schaefer, at my former employer in Lincoln, I had the idea on a nice day like this. I wanted to do the show on the roof, and there was enough. There wasn't enough guardrails around me to where we actually did it. We did the show on the roof, and then I think someone who was driving down in the Chicken District on 48th Street saw us doing our show from the roof and said, "That's probably not a good thing," and they called somebody on us, and we had to get down. It was sad.
Well, I think the most important thing here is the correct naming of the Chicken District.
Yeah.
I don't think enough people are aware or understand that 88% of Lincoln's chicken is consumed and produced. And whatever other word we want to use, right there on 48th by your old employer's address.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Lincoln and traffic and districts, how did you deal with the marathon or whatever this weekend? Was it a disaster for you, or did you avoid it?
It is important to know the calendar. It's important to know what's going on locally. It is important to know that I am far enough to Northwest Kansas City that I am not overly bothered by the half marathon. The other important thing here is I got after it for the Kentucky Derby, so I wasn't really what you would call alive Sunday morning. So I was going to be largely unaffected either way.
Okay, that's good. Hey, you timed it out well then. Good job by you. All right, so you've had recruiting is at a busy last week or so. Got a commitment today that we should talk about, but there was the whole Trey Taylor thing last week that, I don't know, ruffled some feathers, but we're talking about a 2027 recruit. Like, I hesitate to even talk about this and ask about this, but it came along with a little bit of drama, so I guess I will. How did you unpack that whole situation last week?
I think it's important to talk about when Nebraska gets a commitment from a top 70 player, even if it's a sophomore, and there's some apprehension about what that might look like in a couple years or everything else. But Trey Taylor was a big pickup for Nebraska. It was a commitment that, he doesn't have to make this early, but he's taken visits. He's been a recruit since he was a seventh grader. This isn't someone who's just green to the process. So he had a pretty good idea of what he was looking for, who he was interested in, and he wants to be a peer recruiter. And so I've said this, since the Taylor commitment, but the biggest difference with a guy like Trey Taylor and a Dylan Raiola is when Nebraska got Dylan Raiola, they couldn't really use it to their advantage as far as peer recruiting for high school kids. Trey Taylor's going to have multiple cycles where he's going to be able to help Nebraska bring players on visits, maybe help get commitments, help entice skill position players who want to come play for a high-level quarterback, help bring in linemen who want to be involved with a high-level quarterback. And the state of Illinois has become increasingly more interesting to Nebraska. They're investing more resources in recruiting it. I think last I looked for the 2027 class, it was fifth amongst states with total offers, after the obvious ones of Texas, Georgia, Florida, and I think Cal was the other one there. And then I think it was Illinois. And so Nebraska is clearly interested in getting more involved in the land of Lincoln and bringing them to Lincoln. So I think that is going to be helpful too. So there's a lot of layers to the Trey Taylor thing, and none of it has to do with the fact that he did what is, I was guessing, like 15-20% common now, where they try to psych everybody out with their commitment.
Okay, so as you're going through this, my brain's turning a little bit, and I'm wondering if you'll go along with me on this journey. Is recruiting about football anymore? Or is it more because of the transfer portal and the player flexibility and the ability to move for those guys? And you're going to end up, with 15 high school recruits this year or whatever it is. It feels to me that the importance lies somewhere in between the players that you're getting and also how you're projecting yourself as a program and the sort of, statements you're trying to make by the people you recruit based on where they're from. Like, are you willing to go down that road with me at all?
I think there's something to it. I don't know that I would go as far down the road as you, because I think ultimately there's still the element of these guys are picking where they want to go based on who they think can develop and get them to where they want to be. I don't think Nebraska's in the conversation with Trey Taylor if they didn't have Dana Holgorsen and the history that Dana Holgorsen has with his offense and his quarterbacks. I don't think Nebraska's down this road with Trey Taylor if they didn't have Dylan Raiola and an obvious example of what it's like to be a young player and playing early in your career for Matt Rule. So there's always the element of football present. It just may not be front and center based on wins and losses as much as it used to be. And the second thing that you said, I think, is a more accurate or bigger element here. So much of recruiting is how you present yourself. And I think you use the word project. But Nebraska knows that. Matt Rule knows that. They're very aware of how they are perceived and what they look like. And they're aware of what sort of PR that you get from getting commitments like this and building upon it. And then they're aware of the PR that you get of having success, whether it's in traditional recruiting and developing those players and the Ty Robinson type stories, or the guys that come in and are great transfer portal players and then immediately have success at the next level as well. And then you can talk about, hey, we were able to take a pretty well-finished player and put some finishing touches on him, and now he's in the league. And so you have to be able to present yourself in a multitude of ways in recruiting in 2025. And I think Nebraska is very well positioned for that. And if we ever see the program jump a level to where it's actually putting wins on the standings and playing in meaningful football games, you get to add that element to it too. So there's a lot of different things, at play when we're talking about recruiting in 2025, but there's still always the element of football matters to a degree. Like if you didn't have the coaching staff assembled that you do, you're not going to get Trey Taylor. If you don't have things looking as they are, or a potential opening for a quarterback in 2027, you're not getting Trey Taylor. So it all builds off of each other, one kernel at a time. But I would not absolve football from being a key element ever still when it comes to recruiting.
Okay. So speaking of how you're perceived and then the football side of it as well, the new commitment this morning, Jace Reynolds, 2026 out of Elkhorn North. Nebraska has been now perceived as a program that, Matt Rule talked about in-state recruiting and all of those things. So the evaluation on Jace must have been, we think that you've checked all the boxes here for us. What do you think about this commitment and how it projects for Nebraska?
I think they see a guy who's just a really good athlete that if you look at what he's doing for Elkhorn North right now, he plays in coverage, he rushes the passer, he had 6 hurries and a sack. He also had 8 pass deflections. You can line them up on your inside wide receivers. You can line them up, over or right behind your nose guard or your defensive tackles and have them go through the offensive line that way. I think he's a very versatile high school player. I know Tony White in particular was pretty excited about him last year when they offered for the Friday night lights camp. And so Rob Dvorak has picked up the baton from that offer in terms of the recruitment. And then Jace has had good conversations with John Butler about what his role would look like, what linebackers are going to be doing at Nebraska. And then somebody on my message board posted this in the thread right after he committed. Go through some of the names they have at linebacker. And it's pretty interesting when you're talking about Vincent Shavers, Willis McGahee. You're going to see what Dawson Merritt, Christian Jones, Pierce Mooberry are. The Bowers kid that they have unearthed here that is similar to a John Bullock. And then you add Jace Reynolds to the mix and whatever else they're able to grab in this cycle as well. We want to talk about transfer portal recruiting and what that can do for you. But if you don't have to go to the portal at linebacker, then you're able to just grow it from good development and good recruiting on the front side of it. You're a better program for that.
Schaefer, so before we let you go here, I have 2 things for you. Number one, I'm under the understanding that you will be covering baseball tomorrow. Is this true?
I will be in the press box. Michael Bruns is not able to cover the game from Norway.
Nope. I've seen a lot of pictures from the. I was really in tune with Brunts and Matt Rule's Instagram stories this weekend and the various locations that they were at.
Some people get to see the world and some people get to see pitching changes. I will be one of the ones hearing about I guess I won't be listening on the radio, so I don't have to hear the 811 big commercial anymore that plays when Nebraska does their pitching changes. But yeah, I'll be there on Tuesday. Big game, big opportunity for Nebraska to get over 500, win the series against Creighton for the first time in a couple years, and just kind of signify that they're not just sleepwalking still in the month of May.
Not dead yet. That could be the headline for when you for if Nebraska wins tomorrow, Schaefer. Not dead yet.
No, I'll file that one away.
Okay.
I'll put that away for you.
All right. We also got a comment from Headley on YouTube. Mike Schaefer is my spirit animal. What do you think about that?
I don't know if anyone should have me as a spirit animal. But I guess I appreciate having positive support whenever I can get it.
All right, get back to your Mo. It's growing fast out there. You might have to go over the entire thing again.
I have a question. I have a question for you, real quickly.
All right.
How much, if any, time are you really going to spend on the Sharon Morris thing?
We will spend some time on.
Have you discussed it yet?
We have not discussed it yet. We will spend some time on it, an unsure amount of time, but we will spend some time on it.
I want to point out that going all the way back to 2023 is something where some of the loudest voices in college football tried to tell us absolutely wasn't a big deal and didn't matter. Multiple coaches have now been suspended. Obviously, Connor Stallions was fired.
It's amazing.
This is just such a joke to me. The way that it got covered, how quickly some people in the college football world wanted to say that it was absolutely nothing. Michigan now self-imposing suspensions, but doing it on the 3rd and 4th week of the season instead of the 1st and 2nd, so their coach can coach against his former alma mater. Just what a joke of a program in the Big Ten. It's such an embarrassment every time Michigan comes up. This is the 3rd time they're suspending a head coach in the last 3 seasons. They haven't had a head coach in 8 of their however many games by the time they get done in 2025.
It's like a third of the entire time. It's amazing.
I will never understand why in society, when things like the 2017 Astros and the 2023 Michigan Wolverines come up, so many people are like, everyone's doing it, even when it's very, very obvious that no one was doing it to this level. And the coach ran away and hid in the NFL and talks about his ethics and his standards and all this other crap. What a joke.
Thank you for being a Michigan hater. Me and Mike Schaefer, once again, handshake meme. Schaefer, I appreciate that.
Most obnoxious college football fans in the country.
Excellent.
In Ann Arbor,
excellent take.
Michigan.
Thank you for bringing that take to the table. I agree with you 100%. Okay, now with that, you can comfortably go enjoy the rest of your gas mo.
It's going to be a great mo. Thanks, Connor.
See ya. That's Mike Schaefer of Husker 247. It's about time somebody says it. on this show, or somebody agrees with me on it. Because all I hear is from
Everybody's watching tape, Connor.
Josh Peterson in the afternoon talking about how, I love Michigan. I love them so much. Isn't it so cool when they beat Ohio State all those times?
I got a clip of Josh talking about Michigan. Here
Oh, yeah, there we go. What is it?
Honk, honk.
That is absolutely true.
Imagine honking for the Michigan Wolverines.
Charles writes in, put it on the internet that Schaefer hates Michigan.
Okay.
Please put it on the internet. Put that on the internet. Put me hating Michigan on the internet. I love talking about how much I dislike Michigan as a program. Always have. And this has only enhanced it.
A lot of people are going to have a lot of things to say
They
about
love themselves.
Michigan.
They love themselves. Also, in watching this Pat McAfee show, because we just have it on ESPN, he's doing his show from the Jays Live perch. Josh looked up there, and in the background, he's like, "Where's the Section 220 boys?" Mm-hmm. Section 220 is probably right there in the background. This is crazy. It just says Pat's Live from Omaha. He was one of the PJs rolling into town over the weekend.
Do you think somebody said to Pat McAfee, "Hey, Connor Happer does his Jays Live from right there. You could probably do your show from right there."
I'm sure it was brought up in the conversations.
Yeah, I'm sure your name came up.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. And then he unblocked me on Twitter recently at an uncertain time. Don't know what I did to get back in Pat McAfee's good graces, but I did it.
I'm glad we have had a peace brokered.
We are extending the olive branch.
Wow.
All right, we're back after this with the odd news on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, Josh, time for the odd news. What do we got today?
Well, Connor, one of the, the core tenet beliefs of this show is don't have a fantasy football bet where you have to stay at the Waffle House for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We believe that to our very core. It's been done. It's been done to death.
Yep, you're not cool.
It is evolving, Connor.
Sure it is.
Is a couple of ESPN honks on the ACC network. David Hale ended up losing a fantasy football bet to a fellow ESPN colleague, and his punishment was he had to stay 24 hours inside a Buc-ee's. Now, we love Buc-ee's on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We hate
this
spending 24 hours inside a place.
Yeah.
Hale was on the Sickos Committee podcast. We like the Sickos Committee.
Mm-hmm.
We like Buc-ee's, but we hate this. He had to talk about it. He explained, I lost a bet, and I'm nothing if not a man of integrity. If I lose a bet, I'm going to follow through. My colleague and I, Andrea Adelson, we have an ongoing, many years running bet on our ACC picks for the year.
To Scott Frost.
That's right. Typically, the results, I should say, there is no reward for the winners. Whatever credibility I once had as a journalist has been utterly, utterly destroyed, as he had to stay 24. It doesn't say which Buc-ee's he stayed.
Also, I mean, the whole thing about the Waffle House deal is like the
you can get out early, right?
You can get out early if you just gobble a bunch of waffles down.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the Buc-ee's?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Do we have that information?
I don't have the parameters of the bet.
Okay.
I guess you just stay and so there were a bunch of tweets.
This is stupid.
Like, hey, look at this guy. He likes North Carolina. Look at this guy. I found a demon deacon.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
That doesn't even offer the creativity of you could get out of there early. You could subtract hours off it if you eat one of those, the cone of hot nuts or something like that.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Austin Wells' Instagram page where he rates burritos?
I actually am.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't visited the page, but I've heard about it enough.
Austin Wells has been receiving rave reviews for his media career with the Yankees this season. This prompted the Yankees to actually bring him burritos so he could do both jobs at the same time. And whichever burrito he ended up liking the most would be added to the Yankee Stadium menu on Saturday. Ultimately, Wells ended up choosing a breakfast burrito with scrambled eggs, breakfast sausage, Maple City fries, cheddar jack cheese, and chipotle aioli. That is now called the Wells Favorito. During the second inning of Saturday's matchup between the Yankees and the Rays, Jeff Nelson tried the new addition to the Yankee Stadium menu, and he was
Jeff Nelson. Who's Jeff Nelson?
Great question. I'm looking for
Jeff
that
Nelson,
right now.
the umpire.
It couldn't.
Jeff
possibly
Nelson,
be.
the former Yankee reliever.
Yes.
Okay.
Who works in media in some capacity. I'm not sure where. I thought it was in the story, and now I'm under pressure and cannot find it.
All right.
He tried the new edition. He was far from impressed. He was not afraid to admit it when questioned by Michael Kay.
Oh, he helps with Yankees broadcasts.
Sure.
Okay.
Meredith, Meredith.
Meredith Marakovitz.
Yes, of course.
Josh doesn't want to try.
No, I knew you knew how to say it.
Yeah.
Wanted you to contribute.
I don't even know if that's right.
She said, "Did you like it?" And Nelson replied, "Oh, they did film something for this. I'm not sure they can use it because I trashed it." He said, "It's a shame. It's called he said it's a good thing this isn't called the Flavorito because it has none. I needed to dip it into the sauce."
So maybe Austin Wells is a fraud.
Maybe.
Yeah. He sounds like one of those classic guys who's like, "Oh man, burritos. I love burritos.
I love burritos.
I'm going to do a burrito." Hey, by the way, so this is an offshoot of this, and I have seen an inordinate amount of dudes who have made it their bit to like eat hot dogs and like review hot dogs.
Review hot dogs.
Yeah, they go to the baseball stadiums like, hey, I got this. Like, there has been a gigantic spike.
They're all the same.
Of people who go on the internet and eat food on their cameras.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is absurd to me. Because there's no way that you could do it better than any.
Hashtag guzzling glizzies.
There's a lot of people who do it in Omaha and they are supporting local businesses, and that's great. But the reason that you get famous is because that you do it in a different and unique style. You can't do it. No. You're not cool. No. You're not creative enough. I'm sorry. So Austin Wells doing this whole thing with the burrito. It's not that interesting.
Okay.
I don't want to watch people eat their food. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of creators out there who are maybe listening to this and they're like, geez, crapping all over my bit here. Yeah. And kind of.
I got 47,000 views on TikTok.
I don't want.
How many do you have?
I don't want to watch you eat a taco.
But hot dogs is so weird.
I want to learn where to get the taco, and if I could eat the taco myself. Mm-hmm. I don't care about your opinion on the taco because I know that we all have different food tastes.
Sure. Some of us, like the people who work here, have very good food tastes.
Some. Not very many, though.
That's right. Connor, remember this story when you're getting set up for the weekend games at, well, I guess you got one tomorrow too.
I have a game tomorrow.
Yeah, for the games. Pros and cons to extensive usage of crowd microphones. At their best, those mics give viewers at home significant insight into the atmosphere at a game. At their worst, you'll get things like what happened during an ESPNU broadcast of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Men's Lacrosse Championship. Yes, between Sacred Heart and Siena Saturday. The clip starts with a voice, quote, "For the viewers back home, a lot of people saying this doesn't go anywhere, but for those who are lucky enough to listen, Sacred Heart has diarrhea." The actual announcer then cuts in and says, "And now we'll get our penalty." But after a short discussion about said penalty, you can hear again on the crowd mic, a lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
So somebody in the stands found out where the crowd mic was.
Yep.
And started talking directly into it.
Yes. And then the announcer had to come in again and say, okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
Maybe this is something the broadcasters need to keep a secret from now on. Should I tell people where our crowd mic is at Creighton baseball games?
No.
It's not that accessible by the public.
Okay. You
can't get that close to it.
Close.
You can't get that close.
Now, you could say something that gets picked up by it, but
yeah. You could get pretty close to it where it's going to be tomorrow, which is hanging out the booth.
Oh, okay.
It's just going to be a microphone dangling out the booth.
Been there?
Yeah. Luckily, the people at Mecca hook us up with the nice, effects feed and things like that. And it's attached to an already existing thing.
Love an effects feed
in Omaha. We do, but there are times where you start hearing some conversations that. Yep. All right. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. The noon hour is coming up. There's plenty still left to get into, including that baseball roundup. It's a big week for both Creighton and Nebraska. The luck index, round ball rock. Everybody wants to talk about round ball rock. And yes, Sharon Moore, being the bigger man and suspending himself. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
he does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. This week's Zone Deal is Backlot Pizza and Kitchen, located at 204th and Q, specializing in Detroit-style pizza, offering a variety of smash burgers, shareable appetizers, and more. A great cocktail menu. How about an old-fashioned? Can I interest anybody in that?
Always.
Sundays, fantastic brunch buffet, the spacious patio, all of those things. Gary and Matt have vouchers all week that they'll be giving away, $50 for $0, and then the half-off deal starts Friday at 9. That's half off, Josh.
I'm going to trust your math.
$50 for $25.
Okay.
Friday at 9 at 1620thezone.com. Got a comment in here from YouTube from David.
Hi, YouTube.
Hi,
David.
Hi, YouTube. I had someone fart into my crowd mic once.
No.
So our crowd mic is at Creighton baseball games when we are on the Flow Sports, which is almost always. There is a game this weekend where it's broadcast television, so we'll be moved down, I think. I think that's Saturday.
Broadcast television?
Yeah, I think it's on the NET or something. Or maybe that's the FS1 game. Gosh, I got to check this out. I should probably know where we're going to go before we...
You got a whole nother game before that.
Yeah, I really take it one day at a time. I don't know. I think
Sunday you're on Nebraska Public Media.
There you go. That'll explain that. So this will not be the case on Sunday, but Friday and Saturday, our crowd mic is attached to the camera on the third base camera well. Just so people know.
Write that down, everybody.
You can't get down in there, and you can't fart into it. You can't get close enough to fart into it. But you could probably have some conversations pretty close. I hope. Let me say this: honk, honk, Josh.
Oh,
as we
honk, honk.
I hope that there is. We see some great crowds this week for our local baseball teams.
Should be good weather.
Excellent weather.
No doubleheaders.
God willing, no doubleheaders. Final home series for both teams this weekend. Final Creighton, Nebraska game coming up tomorrow night from Haymarket Park. I did the math on this last night. This will be Ed Service's 57th and final game coached against Nebraska.
Whoa.
Tomorrow. And then the final Ed Service home series coming up this weekend, and a crucial one for the Jays against Xavier. I want to see some good crowds. I want to see some people showing up to watch the baseball this weekend, whether it be in Lincoln or in Omaha, whichever team you prefer.
Even if you're one of those people who eats hot dogs on the internet, come on down.
Yes.
They got hot dogs.
Come do your food reviews at the ballpark.
Yeah.
I'm calling it Creators Day.
Ooh.
Yeah. There's special things. We'll have great Wi-Fi. That way you can do your TikToks from the game. Sit and watch the baseball this weekend. Should be lovely.
Now there's an interesting angle for minor league promoters and things like that.
TikToks Day.
Yeah.
God, that sounds bad. I don't know which one I would avoid more. TikToks Day or Bark at the Park.
What about Take Me Out to the Ball Game?
That's worse than all of them.
Okay.
Love the idea. Love the creativity. Minor League Baseball is about creativity. I don't want to be around your cat. And I know that people,
Well, my cat's different, Connor.
It's not. I don't. Usually there's not enough of the cats at the baseball game to really, notice. So that's good. Same thing with the dogs. But if the dogs are taking over the ballpark, I don't, Anyway.
What happened to Chocolate Ice Cream Day?
Seriously.
Something to think about.
Whatever happened to, chicken tender baskets.
Chicken tender basket day.
Chicken tender baskets day. All right. The news this morning out of college football, as reported by Dan Wetzel and Pete Thamel. Pete tweet. Michigan football coach Sharon Moore is expected to be suspended for 2 games for the upcoming 2025 season as part of a self-imposed sanction by the university for Connor Stalions' advanced scouting scandal, industry sources told ESPN. Now, interestingly enough, Josh, you would think, all right, we have a 2-game suspension here that we'd like to self-impose. Let's just knock out, the first, 2 games.
New Mexico and at Oklahoma. Boom, boom.
No.
Oh.
Michigan has decided that it wants to instead suspend Sharon Moore, self-imposed wise. You get to really control the narrative when you do these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are going to self-impose a suspension not for week 1 and week 2, but for week 3 and week 4 when they take on Central Michigan, and then in week 4 visit Lincoln to play the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Well, Central Michigan, a pivotal part of the Connor Stallions scandal.
That's true. Maybe there's something to that. They don't like the optics of it. Michigan, of course, like Josh said, opens the season by playing New Mexico before going to Norman for their game against Oklahoma, which is indeed Sharon Moore's alma mater.
Wonder if that'll come up.
He will be there for that game.
Okay.
He will not be there for the Nebraska game. And there is not allowed to participate in team activities or anything like that during those weeks, and will receive additional recruiting related penalties. The NCAA can still look at all of these things and decide whether they're going to punish Michigan or not. A final resolution on that from the NCAA is expected before the start of the season. But now, as Schaefer mentioned before, about a half hour ago, Michigan has now self-imposed suspensions, multiple, not once, not twice, but 3 different times.
Thrice.
On various head coaches, and have fired said assistant under speculation and Connor Stallions, and he's admitted to it and been on podcasts and all these things a million different times. But the old school way of thinking was, well, the NCAA sees that you are remorseful about these things, which I don't know about you, Josh. Michigan seems very, very remorseful about all this.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they just seem so broken up about the whole thing.
But if you show, hey, we're willing to play ball, suspend the guys for a couple games, a couple different times, then we might go a little bit lighter on you in the punishment phase. And here we are, multiple seasons removed from this now. We have nothing from the NCAA, but we still have more self-imposed school penalties coming down from the University of Michigan, who, once again, I'd like to reiterate, definitely seems really remorseful about all of this. And meanwhile, as Schaefer once again mentioned, their coach is sitting in the NFL saying, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. I don't care about any of this because I left. La 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 la. I'm very cool. You will never get this. That's what he says. Every time Jim Harbaugh gets in trouble, he says, I'm leaving to the NFL. You will never get this. And he gets to stay above the fray. Nobody cares about it, wants to talk about it. Sharon Moore gets suspended for 2 more games. What do I care? Oh, by the way, Sharon, you could pick which ones you'd like to be suspended too. I'd say Nebraska.
Well, I'd really like my flowers when we play Oklahoma. I worked hard for that. I want that.
This is so stupid. I'd like to once again reiterate what Mike Schaefer said. This is so stupid. Now, here's the question for Nebraska fans. Do you feel slighted? Do you feel as if Michigan has provided you with bulletin board material?
We don't even need our head coach.
Yes, Sharon Moore wants to be suspended for the Nebraska game instead of the Oklahoma game. Do you feel slighted?
Interesting. Kind of.
There you go. There's your bulletin board material. Take that and run with it. Take that thought and just go with it. In August 2024, notice of allegations, the NCAA cited Michigan for 11 violations, 6 of which were deemed level 1, or the most serious. The school and the NCAA are working toward a resolution. Moore's suspension ties back to those allegations that he deleted a text thread of 52 text messages with Connor Stallions. Why would a normal, unguilty person do those things?
Oh, he just hates clutter, Connor.
I do too. I guess I could understand that. The alleged text message deletions came in October 2023 on the same day. Interestingly enough, I think a definite coincidence. On the same day that media reports began to reveal that Stallions was leading an effort to capture the play calling signals of future opponents. That's when he deleted the text messages, and only then.
I mean, he can't control when the media is going to report something.
According to a draft of the notice of allegations obtained by ESPN last year, the texts were recovered via device imaging, and Moore subsequently produced them to enforcement staff. Moore is accused of committing a level 2 violation, according to the draft of that notice. He was suspended for the 2023 season opener against East Carolina for a different thing. Remember, there was another minor Michigan NCAA case, like leading up to this.
Yeah. Now that you say that,
yep, there was another thing. So Michigan just likes suspending these people. That's great. This is so dumb.
Look how responsible they are.
I know. It's great job.
And the NCAA is going to say, you know what? Sure, fine, whatever. That's good enough. Whatever.
Here's some thoughts from you all.
Okay.
Venmo Chris writes in.
I Venmo Chris.
Michigan has a natty. It was worth it. IMO. Honestly, I'd take a little cheating, a little cheating, if it meant I could watch my team not piss their pants for a few seasons. So Venmo Chris, of course it was worth it.
Yeah.
The NCAA is proving on a daily basis that it was worth it, which is the problem that everyone should have with this entire thing. All they've had to do so far is self-suspend themselves for multiple games over multiple years.
Yeah, you don't get to coach against Toledo, coach.
And
I'm sorry.
And the NCAA is going to come in, and their ruling will be this summer or whenever it comes down. It will be, oh, well, you get a cutback on recruiting hours and scholarships, and we're going to fine you $1.5 million or $800,000 or something like that. And there will be a show cause on Jim Harbaugh. It doesn't matter. None of it matters.
They got the natty.
They got the natty, which every day that goes by where nothing happens continues to prove the incompetency of said NCAA and all the things. And as Schaefer said before, we continue to just, like it's taboo to talk about. Somebody's like, oh, well, Michigan won the national title in 23, and then someone else will say, well, they cheated to get there, and everybody's like, yeah, well, whatever.
I mean, lots of teams watch video. You can watch video of teams, Connor. Everybody's doing this.
I think they were doing it a little differently, Josh. Maybe a little extra.
I mean, we're all looking for the edge, right?
What do they say? What movie is that where they say it's extra legal? Is that Wolf of Wall Street where they say it's extra legal? It's not illegal. It's extra legal.
No, I don't want the definition of extra legal.
They
Google.
Definitely say that in a movie that I have watched before.
Hey, did you know there's a movie called Extra Legal from 1999?
That makes sense. You find that.
I'm looking.
Jesse writes in.
Hi, Jesse.
Michigan knows they're going to lose to Nebraska. They're choosing for the coach to not be there preemptively for an excuse as to why they lost. Interesting
like that.
Theory. Interesting theory. Then Greg in Myrtle Beach.
Oh, hi, Greg.
Chimes in. This will be good. I wonder which direction this goes. Greg in Myrtle Beach says, if Michigan names their JV equipment manager head coach, it's in the interim, we'll have a dead even coaching matchup with middle school rule. You don't think there's a chance that Nebraska wins that game? Do we have lines out yet?
Future lines. Look ahead.
Does this affect the line for Nebraska, Michigan, potentially?
Okay, the only movie clip that's coming up is it's not legal, it's frowned upon.
Like?
Servicing oneself
on an airplane.
On an airplane.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden. That's how that line goes. All right, we got Nebraska, Cincinnati. Nebraska is 6.5-point favorite in that game. We got Ohio State, Michigan.
No, it's been a while since Ohio State beat Michigan.
I'd heard that.
Okay.
They had their big commencement ceremony over the weekend, and the little kid gets up there and is like, we beat Ohio State 4 times. Ohio State, 5.5-point favorites against Michigan. That game will take place 2 days after Thanksgiving.
Mm.
Glad we have a line out for that one already. That seems good.
It's at the big house this year, Connor.
That seems important. Michigan on the national championship odds board plus 2,800. But if in order to get to where they want to go, winning the national championship, they'll have to do it for 2 games without their fearless leader, Sharon Moore, and nobody actually cares because that's where we're at. I just think that Nebraska should take bulletin board material out of this, and they should say, look, they think that they could suspend themselves for this game.
They think this is okay.
They got another thing coming.
Ooh, yeah.
They got another thing coming. That's how I would play it.
They're taking you lightly.
Yep, that's how I'd play it with my team. Anyway, elsewhere in the Big Ten.
Oh.
Let's go over to Wisconsin.
Okay.
So
haven't been there in a while.
Yeah, it's been a rough go for Luke, Mr. Fickle.
Mr. Fickle.
Yeah, hasn't been good. They did not end their season well last year. Now, with that being said, they're only 12-13. You care to know what Nebraska's record over 2 seasons under Matt Rule is, Josh?
Sure. Fire it away.
How's 12-13?
Oh, no. Luke Fickle's doing better.
What's 7 plus 6?
13.
12-13. No,
Okay.
Luke Fickle's doing exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Pete Tweets went over to Madison and had a good sit-down conversation with Luke Fickle,
Okay.
who now has understood the mistakes that he has made over the first 2 years of his tenure.
Well, that's good.
2 years into Coach Luke Fickle's tenure with the Badgers, there's an obvious identity overhaul. They've returned now to a throwback style more predicated on physical football on offense, led a veteran transfer quarterback, and imported an entire new defensive front. Quote from Fickle, "We've got the identity that fits us." They have changed their identity. Fickle fired offensive coordinator Phil Longo, remember the dairy raid, and made a decision to veer away from an air raid offense and channel the program's beef and brawn roots, hiring offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes from Kansas.
Grimy.
They got a transfer from Maryland, who their quarterback is going to be this year. His name is Billy. And they want to get back to being physical, playing defense, and being big up on the offensive line. And Fickle has admitted that there were some mistakes and some missteps along the way. And I really just wanted to, I really bring this up because a couple things. Number one, I can't wait to see how this goes. Famously, this always works where you have an identity that you're really sure about, but it doesn't match up with the school at all. And then after 2 years of not being very good, they want to try and run you out of town. And you say, you know what? We'll acquiesce to you. Famously, this always works.
I'll change everything I've ever done for you.
So before it was, we want to, we're going to update. I mean, it sounded a lot like people made the jokes and make the comparisons. It sounded a lot like what Bill Callahan wanted to do with Nebraska when he got here in 2004, right? We're going to do things a little bit differently. We're moving Nebraska into the 21st century. We're going to throw the football around. We're going to get really, really good players. We're going to recruit. We're going to do all these things. It sounded like what Luke Fickle tried to do in his first couple of years at Wisconsin. Famously, it didn't work out for Bill at Nebraska.
It did not, no.
It was a bit of a harsh transition. Let's just say that. I think looking back, maybe there is some responsibility to be taken by Nebraska fans. I don't think we were quite ready for that yet. We weren't ready for all of that yet.
I don't know, guys. The forward pass,
It didn't work out. So I think what Luke Fickle is actually doing here is he is combining 2 failed Husker coaches into one. And this is where our dear friend Scott Frost comes up yet again on the program. Scott Frost, and I was reading through this article and I saw a quote from him and I'm like, oh my God. Scott Frost said maybe exactly that. So Scott Frost, when he got to Nebraska, there had never been a person more sure of himself. Right? the confidence that he exuded was incredible. It probably didn't serve him very well, but he was really sure about what they were going to do and how they were going to do it, as Luke Fickell was in his first couple of years at Wisconsin. So listen to this quote. Quote from Fickell: physically, the second half of the season, we couldn't hold up. And I mean that in particular on the defensive front. He added, quote, "It's a grown man's league. If you don't have grown men, it's going to be really, really difficult." And I didn't have time to go back and look at the quotes from Scott Frost after his first year at Nebraska, but I swear to God, he said exactly those words. I mean, verbatim.
Okay.
Almost verbatim, those words.
That would be a hilarious bit.
I want to go back. Maybe I'll do that during the break and try and find some of those quotes, because that sounds exactly like what Scott Frost said after his first year. And so all of a sudden, after Scott Frost didn't win a game until late October in his first season, all of a sudden he wasn't so confident anymore. And he was less sure of himself. And what did he say that offseason? I mean, after they played the Iowa game and, they lost close, as they always do, but he was like, we couldn't hold up. Man amongst boys, all those lines. They said, we got to get bigger, we got to get more physical, and we got to lean into, holding up physically in this league. I believe that was the crucial mistake that Scott Frost made in his time in Nebraska.
Okay.
Of course, you want to be big and you want to be physical, but you were brought here to score 1 billion points because you had the best offense in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, you scrapped it. You said, this ain't going to work. We can't do this here after the first year. I think you should have just stuck to it. I think you should have just kept being who you are. And so what Luke Fickell is doing is definitively not who he is. It's changing. His identity, his own personal identity and his brand and his thinking about the way football works is changing. And you can make the same case that Matt Rule is doing, has similar tenets this offseason. More of that is team building and less about football, but still a similar conversation. So Luke Fickell is going to try the impossible. He's going to try and survive, win in the Big Ten, win in college football, win at Wisconsin, while also being both Bill Callahan and Scott Frost at the same time. Can't wait. Cannot wait to see how this one works out.
It's a high degree of difficulty you've set yourself up for.
It's a high wire act. Maybe he's a Walenda.
It always comes back to the Walendas.
Whenever I think high wire acts, I think of the Walendas.
Yeah. So we just going to get our resumes together now for the Wisconsin head football coach job, or we're going to wait a little bit?
I get the sense that it might be coming.
Okay.
Yeah. I start thinking about it. So maybe that's a good game. Predict what Wisconsin does next. Does their next hire go back to the roots? I mean, I think you have to, right?
Probably to appease the donors, right?
So who's Bo Pelini? Is it Jim Leonard? Do you finally make some good? You finally make some good on the Jim Leonard thing. It didn't really end well. You bring back. Okay, that's it. Yep, Jim Leonard is Wisconsin's head coach in 2026. It's done. It's done. Josh writes in.
Hi, Josh. No relation.
Luke's biggest issue is the schedule, my lord.
Oh, that's right.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I remember us talking about this at one point.
It's a little tricky, Josh.
Okay. Oh God, at Alabama.
Yeah. So they started off with Miami of Ohio and Middle Tennessee.
God.
I think they'll be okay. They go to Alabama in week 3. Remember, they had a home game with Alabama last year.
Mm-hmm.
Start off conference play against Maryland and then have a week off. Then
October
happens.
A month of death.
At Michigan. Sharon Moore will be available for that game.
He will be available. Okay.
Home against Iowa. Home against Ohio State. at Oregon before your next bye week.
You'll need it.
And then Washington at Indiana, Illinois at home, and at Minnesota to finish off the season. I mean, there's almost no chance he survives this.
I don't see. I'll just say I don't see 6 wins there.
Nope.
I don't really see 4 there either. But
I don't think that's happening. All right, just to check in on our friends up there. Good luck.
Do they?
Good luck, Jim Leonard, head coach, 2026.
After that Oregon game, do they just say, "Okay, we're going to do this," and fire him, or do they let him go the whole season?
Yeah, you let him finish it out.
Okay,
maybe. I don't know. Jim Leonard, by the way, right now is the defensive pass game coordinator / assistant head coach for the Denver Broncos.
Defensive pass game coordinator.
You got it.
Okay.
And assistant
coach.
Head coach. Assistant head coach. Assistant to the head coach? I don't know. But he's going to be the Wisconsin head coach in 2026.
All right. Well, I mean, something to look forward to, Wisconsin fans.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone. There's Pat McAfee doing his show today from CHI Health Center. What a week for CHI Health Center.
Oh, man. So much money coming in and out of there.
So you had the political aggregators who are horrible at counting the amounts of people that go inside of arenas.
You think finance people would be better at counting.
So I saw one video. It was like, this is Omaha, Nebraska, where Warren Buffett is supposed to speak at the Berkshire Hathaway, annual shareholders meeting. Over 40,000 people have gathered inside of this arena to watch. I don't think that's possible. I think they'd have a fire code violation if that was the case.
A quick wiki
Yeah.
shows that the seating capacity for let's say concert center stage, that would mean that would imply you
people
have
on the floor.
People on the floor, yes. 18,975.
Double it.
Still less than 40,000. I don't know what the number is, but I know it's less than 40,000.
40,000 people. And then all day today on the Pat McAfee show, and then tonight, Monday Night Raw.
That's right.
Live, I'm told.
It is usually live, yes.
Kenneth writes in on YouTube.
Hi, Kenneth.
Is McAfee paying you rent for using your perch?
Oh, there's an idea.
Well, it appears as if he has moved in a new table. Maybe
That's not a Jay's Live table that you've carved your name in.
Now, if he could leave a desk for me,
that'd be great.
Now, that would be pretty special. Because right now I got just a small circular table.
I like that in just some of the background of these shots of Pat McAfee, they're clearly testing like the lighting for the show.
I know.
Tonight, he's doing a sports radio show from CHI Health Center. Like, obviously, they're going to go about their business and not worry about him.
Hey, they don't do that when they don't do that much when John's doing his show from outer space.
That's right.
Upstairs, they'll play whatever music. There'll be dudes shooting hoops on the court, including I'm a dude. I'm a dude. I do that. Not during Pat McAfee's show. That's for sure. Hey, Greg McDermott and Al Huss talked today.
They did.
Yes.
What'd they say? I haven't been able to catch up.
I was reading through the John Walker tweets. By the way, how was I realized that when you had John on Friday, right?
I did.
I realized that when you had, or whatever day.
Tuesday.
Last Tuesday. Sorry. I realized that when you had John on, I don't think that we have had John on. And now I feel bad for it, that.
Oh, you think
because he probably feels like I'm ducking him.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Probably does feel that way.
I'm sorry, John Walker.
John Walker. No H.
I was reading through the John Walker tweets. He said that, and he said kind of this much when he was on Sportsline Connect last week. Mac did. Greg McDermott said he desired to have either Darren DeVries or Alan Huss eventually succeed him at Creighton. DeVries, of course, was ruled out when Indiana hired him during the offseason. It was those two, McDermott said, because of their ties to Creighton. DeVries spent 20 years there and Huss played there. They both had organic connections to the place. Quote, in this case, it's not just one of my own, it's one of Creighton's own. So I thought that was one of the big takeaways that Mac had to say last week. And it was, along the lines of, I wanted to do this. So, why do you want to do it this way? I wanted to do this because I didn't want Creighton to get into a situation where they go through a period of their it's really adaptable to 2025 or 2026 or 2027 in the state of college basketball that we're in right now. Because Mac knows as well as anybody, when a coach leaves a place, your roster immediately, by rule, becomes in complete flux out of nowhere. And so if you're already telling everyone who your next head coach is going to be before you even... Hey, there you go, folks. I think someone's pranking us. Oh my God. Yeah, don't answer that anymore. It's not worth your time.
Got a lot of things I could say, but I'm not going to.
It's not worth your time. at this point.
You're welcome, boss man Steve.
So why don't you just tell everybody who the head coach is going to be before it even happens? That keeps the roster. I mean, like, I think if this works out to plan for them, doesn't that have the effect that you want it to? Naming Al Huss the head coach before it even happens. Do you think Creighton goes through this thing where their roster is in complete shambles in the interim between, in the transition year between Mac and Huss? Like, no, I think it actually does accomplish that. And so not only are you getting a really, an A+ coach and a guy who knows the place and all those things, you're also saving your roster in the initial go ahead phase, where everybody knows you need to get the program off to a good start. And there's no, it's hard to rebuild from scratch, although teams try to do it all the time. So I don't know. I think that was a big deal to Mac and trying to do that piece of it as well. And that's one of the things that has come out over the last week or so, to no surprise.
And definitely that Indiana hire. Oh, we got to go.
Well, I think, yeah. And if Huss was your next guy on the list, whether he was 1 or 2, whatever, you knew that he was going to get high. Mm-hmm. He wasn't very long for High Point. Right. So you kind of had to do it. Although it's funny, the way Mac talked last week on the show,
unsportsmanlike conduct, the show.
He didn't sound like a guy, and he's a good poker player. He did not sound like a guy who was only going to be here for 2 more years. He's like, well, I'm not really close to that right now, but we'll see what happens when it happens. I would imagine there's communication between those two and the administration of there is a time frame on this. But that's one of the things that I think is kind of interesting about the whole deal as well. Bernie writes in, by the way, on Twitter regarding Berkshire Hathaway. There's typically always over 40,000 for Berkshire weekend because they put chairs in all those ballrooms and have it on closed circuit TV.
Oh, okay.
But there was not 40,000. It was a video of the people inside the arena. Like, you're looking live at 40,000 people. It wasn't 40,000 people. It's impossible.
Not in that room.
Not in that room.
So
maybe 40,000 people in the building.
Now, if you show a drone shot of the arena or a blimp shot of the arena and say 40,000 people in there,
yeah,
then you're factually accurate.
Yeah, you could. It'd be closer to it anyway. That's for sure. All right. So there's an update on what. Do you want any more John Walker tweets?
You got any good ones? Anything juicy?
Yeah, sure. A Creighton assistant, Al Huss, who is now a Creighton assistant. People forget that. Greg McDermott's eventual successor, quote, "If you had told me when I was a freshman in high school, or when I was a freshman high school coach, in 2005, that I'd be back at my alma mater and we'd somehow be in the Big East and at some point I'd be in charge, I would have laughed." I love those statements because they happen every year. They're like, "Oh, this is stupid. If you would have told me this 20 years ago, I would have laughed hysterically in your face. I probably would have punched you and said, you're ridiculous." But it gets even more ridiculous for Al Huss.
Just you wait, Al.
Yeah. Oh, I got something for you. It's going to be pretty interesting.
It's coming.
Huss on going back to being an assistant after 2 seasons, the head coach, quote, "It's nice to have a little bit of downtime and not having all this stress fall on your shoulders. My wife told me I was actually funny a couple times last weekend." For the first time in 2 years.
It's the little things, isn't it, people?
He's funny again. It's pretty good. Email in from the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, email.
I'd be shocked if he's more than 2 years. I'd put the over-under at 1.5 years. No way Huss comes back to sit as an assistant coach for greater than 2 years. That's a lot of money he'd be leaving on the table. Like I said, I think they have I would imagine behind the scenes, they have a pretty good idea of what the timeline is and how that's going to work. But I'm just saying, when Mac was on Unsportsmanlike Conduct last week, I mean, like I said, he's a pretty good poker player. Like, right? You could, he knows what he's saying. And he definitely gave off the vibe of, I genuinely don't know yet, but I don't know. Do you believe that? Probably not so much. All right, we'll be back. Round out the hour. Still plenty more to get into in the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Honk, honk. You made me do this. This is on you, producer Josh.
The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Get into Prairie Flower Casino and get in the game. Prairie Flower has hundreds of new slot machines along with the PFC Sportsbook, video poker and Keno, electronic craps, blackjack, and roulette. Looking for a bite in the beverage? You'll love all our options, including Sky Bar and Grill, with nonstop sports on our wall-to-wall TVs and the friendly service you know and love. Play longer, win more at Prairie Flower Casino.
Well, over the weekend, the National Broadcasting Company, NBC, they had one of their key events of the year, the Kentucky Derby, and they used that to show off the fact that they're getting NBA coverage back next season. And more specifically, they used that to tell people about their cool new theme song. Same thing as the old theme song, Josh.
It's the one people like.
Round Ball Rock. But I think people missed the lead.
Oh?
I think they buried the lead.
Okay.
In an interview with Alex Sherman in CNBC Sport.
Shermanator.
NBC Sports president Rick Cordella cited the intros of the Jordan-era Bulls as one of the ways in which the network hopes to bring a big game feel to its NBA coverage, specifically for their Sunday night games on the network that will follow Sunday Night Football on the calendar and hopefully beyond. Quote, our goal in NBC Sports is to make big events feel big and be big. And so we're going to bring a lot of that back, show the atmosphere of the arena. Like, here's another example, Michael Jordan's player introductions. Very, very small amount people were actually in Chicago Stadium, hearing Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project and 6'6" from North Carolina, etc. The reason why people know it so well is because NBC showed it on TV. And I think that's a part of it too. Like, let's get in and show the atmosphere. Make this seem like a big game. And so you'll see that. And we'll have our talent on site at the arenas on Sunday nights. We have Sunday night basketball to just, again, make it feel like this is a big thing. And similar to Sunday night football, it is the game of the week.
Great strategy.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I really trust NBC with their sports properties.
Right.
I think they do a bang up job. They could use maybe some a deeper stable of broadcasters, maybe for some college football. Working on it, they'll get there. I'm sure they'll have big announcements over the summer about what that's going to look like, and
Mike Tirico
and things like that. Yeah,
you can't do everything.
Yeah, but you got to watch out for those nuts.
They'll get you.
So the NBC has a bunch of basketball next year. They have, I think, 50 plus games of regular season basketball.
The All-Star game, and
they're getting conference finals. They get conference finals in even numbered years. Next year is an even numbered year. They're getting.
Oh, are they sharing it with Amazon?
Yeah, I think they're getting a conference finals next year.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure. By the way that
sense.
I read the information that was out there anyway. So NBC is back into the basketball game, and one of the things that they're going to do differently is they're going to broadcast the intros, which I think is absolutely sweet.
Love this.
That's
you're going to get
fantastic.
and you're going to make. I don't know. They'll probably be in the same 8 to 10 arenas for that Sunday night game. You're going to make about 8 to 10 new stars. Like, sports people are going to know the names of the PA guy at MSG.
Seriously.
The PA guy at whatever the hell they're calling the Staples Center this week.
I mean, it's not just like the PA, like obviously, being a PA guy, I think that's really, really cool. Like, that's awesome. That's kind of the dream that's the stage that you want to be on. But I also think, skipping over that on TV as often as we do and putting ads. I mean, what we do.
I'm Mike Greenberg. Hey, Wilbon, what do you think of basketball? I hate basketball. Why am I working here? It's not as good as it used to be.
I don't know what the original intent was. But game times are 7:07 and 7:10 and 7:12 and things like that. What networks decide to do with those minutes is crazy to me. It's basically just jam a bunch of commercials in there.
Yeah.
And I get it. You want to jam a bunch of commercials that like you have commercials.
You paid a lot for these entities. You're
and
trying
people
to
are
make the
tuning
money
in
back.
at the start of the games, but like it is about the game. It is after all about the game. And so I think that's really cool. If it comes to fruition, and it sounds like, hopefully NBC's not all talk here, but they say, no, we're going to
on Sunday night,
we're going to make this feel big and we're going to take you inside the arena at 7:00 for a 7:07 start or whatever it is. And you're going to see and feel and hear the introductions of these individual players. I mean, think about that's the nostalgia from the 90s that, and the nostalgia that's starting to come up now that I always see on my social media feeds is remember the kids saying, well, remember when Sports Center was like this? and they just did highlights and we cared about the top 10 and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. The secret is, Josh, that we can still do this.
We could do it.
It's very possible. It's not that we've just lost the attention span or anything like that. People, they take what you give to them, and you, as a television network, are in charge of what you give to them. And if you want to give them 7 minutes of commercials and people don't tune in until 7:20 and miss the entire first quarter and it doesn't matter, then that is because of you. But if you want to give them a reason to start at 7 o'clock, they'll be there. And so I think that's it's a really cool thing by NBC.
Can't wait until Carrie Underwood sings the lyrics to Round Ball Rock on Sunday Night Basketball.
That will not be good. That would not be good.
Basketball.
They changed up they changed up Sunday Night Football this year, and it was different. I didn't like it.
Don't change anything. Stop changing things.
Why do people change things all the time?
Well, people like to earn their salaries or justify them at least.
Venmo Chris writes in.
Hi, Venmo Chris.
Who is going to be the Colt McCoy of NBC basketball broadcasts?
Oh, no.
I don't know what their crews look like yet. Have they announced that?
They've announced some hirings. I don't know that they've announced who's going to be working where.
You know what? Another thing this is good for, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing the player intros, knowing where people went to college and knowing where people are from.
I hadn't thought of that.
Something is kind of gone.
Uh-huh.
That I don't think it's gone. I mean, guys being dudes still will just name where guys went to college, but not as much common knowledge anymore. Where guys went to college and what cities they're from.
NBA on NBC announced broadcasters. They will. Mike Tirico and Noah Eagle will be sharing play-by-play depending on what day of the week it is.
You got to do it.
Analysts, Jamal Crawford and Reggie Miller. Carmelo will be in the studio.
Oh, that's right. They had Carmelo at the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
That was funny.
And that is all they've announced so far.
All right, they got some time.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tirico and the Kentucky Derby, he had a tweet on Saturday night after he bowed out of coverage. People were wondering, where did Tirico go? Is he okay? His voice was kind of rapidly deteriorating.
By the time I tuned in, he wasn't there.
Hate being a scratch after making the starting gate at the Derby. Just a significant reaction to my nut allergy. If you have one, you know how it can knock you down. Profound thanks to Churchill Downs for their care and our amazing NBC Sports Racing family, especially Randy, Jerry, and Ahmed Fareed. So lucky to have Syracuse University fam step in and do such a great job. Orange emoji.
You went to Syracuse. It doesn't have to be your personality.
Talk to a broadcaster who went to Syracuse, Josh.
They'll tell you.
You know who went to Syracuse and is an NBC broadcaster? Noah Eagle.
Oh. Gosh, they're going to have Syracuse boys, Carmelo Anthony, Noah Eagle, and Mike Tirico.
Yep.
Only one of them is Italian, and the answer might surprise you.
Might surprise you. Check out number 4 on the list. All right, we're back with the 1 o'clock hour. Still open for you guys. Want to hear from you on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline, by the way.
Do I need to move that sign up higher?
Yeah, I don't like it over there.
Okay.
I like it. Oh, it's over there. Okay, that's
it.
Good.
Is. Or did you want it over there?
I did. I thought this was the only one you hung up.
I hung up too.
All right, now I'll remember.
I can put it wherever you want.
That's good.
Okay.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Josh, I have news.
News?
Press release alert.
Press release. Ooh,
Now, this is fascinating, kind of.
okay.
Maybe. Fascinating, kind of, maybe. You ready for this?
I don't know.
This is out of St. Louis.
Oh, what is Mayor Gene Stothert about to tell us?
It is not regarding Mayor Gene Stothert. Don't know why you would say that.
Vote for me.
The Missouri Valley Football Conference, President's Council, has approved a new governance structure that recognizes the strong partnership between key multi-sport conferences and positions the league for continued success as the dominant conference in the FCS. Now, what did I just say?
I don't know. They recognize the power?
This agreement places Jeff Jackson as the commissioner of the Missouri Valley Football Conference.
Okay.
Jackson has served as commissioner of the Missouri Valley Conference, the all-sport league for Missouri Valley Football Conference members, since July of 2021. The agreement further places Josh Fenton, dear friend, close personal friend Josh Fenton.
Oh, really?
Well, I met him at the College World Series a couple of years ago, and he was really good.
Okay.
As the executive advisor for the Missouri Valley Football Conference. He has been the commissioner for the Summit League since April of 2023. So basically what we're seeing here is a partnership between the Missouri Valley Football Conference and the Summit League. There is a lot of overlap between the two leagues, the Missouri Valley Conference and the Summit League.
Mm-hmm.
There are 4 all-sport members of the Missouri Valley Football Conference in the Summit League. I believe those members are North Dakota State, South Dakota, and give me one more Missouri Valley Football Conference Summit League team. Oral Roberts, Omaha, Northern Colorado, St. Thomas. I don't know. There are 4 according to this. Sorry, 4 according to this press release. But we have a partnership, a deal, if you will.
Okay, love deals.
We love a deal.
I don't know what the deal is, but I'm glad a deal was made.
I will try. Now,
dumb it down for me.
I will try. I don't know that this is for sure what this means, but it feels like it is paving the way for something.
Okay,
right when
that was the vibe I was getting.
Remember when the
Big
Ten and the Pac-12 were going to do the alliance with the ACE or whatever it was? They're like, yeah, we're going to be cool with each other. It feels like it paves the way for something. I just don't know what yet.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what yet. And that's all I have to say about that, Josh.
All right. I have some news as well.
Okay.
Would you like it?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to let you know that Nebraska, for the first time ever, has made the college football playoff.
For the first time ever, Josh? I don't know, because I'm pretty sure there was a different former Nebraska person on this committee once.
This is an actual Nebraska person.
Oh, really? You're calling Tom Osborne not an actual Nebraska person?
He was the sports by that point.
All right. So go ahead. Continue.
Troy Dannon, athletic director at the University of...
Mr. Yogurt.
That's right. Is a member of the College Football Playoff Management Committee. It has appointed Troy Dannon, Jeff Long, Kansas.
Well,
Arkansas,
Jeff Long,
and
formerly
Pitt.
Kansas. Jeff Long got definitely ousted from Kansas.
Well, he's still using it for clout.
He was ousted from many places.
Yeah, Kansas, Arkansas, and Pitt.
Yep.
To the CFP Selection Committee.
Wow. Yogurt.
He's in there. He's going to be in the room.
Now he has to recuse himself when talking about Nebraska.
I
which he
mean, what does that
definitely will have
really
to.
mean?
Dannon will replace Damon Evans, who...
Dude, that guy sucked.
So Damon Evans, he was the Maryland AD tied up in the whole Kevin Willard. Where this is a lot of branches. Follow along.
All right.
He was the AD at Maryland, right? And remember when Kevin Willard was complaining about all of the things that were not happening at Maryland? He was like, well, I don't really have an AD right now. I think he's going to go to SMU. And that's him. That's him, Damon Evans.
Okay.
So Mr. Yogurt will replace him on the committee. The committee chair, Rich Clark, executive director, says, quote, "We are pleased to have Troy and Jeff join the committee. Troy brings a long commitment to college athletics to our group and previous experience as a member of the FCS selection committee, while Jeff, as the first chairman of the CFP selection committee, will step in immediately and provide an experienced voice in the room." Mr. Yogurt is going to be very busy. He'll be in the room where things are decided.
Hey, Nebraska. Put Nebraska in, cowards.
By the way, thank you to Mike Sauter. University of North Dakota is the fourth football team in the Summit and MVC.
Former Husker opponent, the Hawks.
The Fighting Hawks.
Yeah.
Or they go to the Fighting Hawks from the Fighting Sioux? The Fighting Hawks? Or just the Hawks? I think they're the Fighting Hawks. I think that's right. Sorry, I don't know ball. I don't know Summit League, Missouri Valley.
They fighting.
Okay, good. That's what I thought. Venmo Chris writes in.
Hi, Venmo Chris.
There it is, kids. This is the closest Nebraska will ever be to the CFP. Some dude named after a yogurt picking the teams.
No, they're in. They're in.
They're in the room.
They're in the playoff.
They're in the committee, in the selection room.
That's not being in the playoff?
Their name might get mentioned in conversations regarding the playoff.
Okay.
Because Dannon will have to say, "Hello, I am Yogurt. I represent the University of Nebraska."
Tell us 3 crazy facts about yourself.
Do you think they do that? Do you think they go around the room?
Yes.
2 truths and a lie?
Yeah.
I am named after Dannon Yogurt.
I love dogs.
I like to pop my collars a lot. 2 truths and a lie. Which one's which? What do you think?
I don't think he's named after
I don't think
the
he's named
yogurt.
after the yogurt. I don't think he's named after the yogurt. Once again, another news story where I fail to understand the significance of it other than the Nebraska athletic director is on the committee.
Now,
The selection committee.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about the committee that helps make decisions regarding when the playoff is or or what the structure of it is or anything like that. No, we're talking about the teams that are selected. This is a very unimportant committee, if we're being honest. Sorry to minimize the impact of this from Yogurt Man, but there you go.
I mean,
I don't really get it.
Doesn't the Big Ten get all the spots now?
Well, they're trying
in the football playoff.
They're trying to.
Okay.
Well, what good? Here's a question for you, Josh.
Okay.
If the playoff moves to the format that we think they're going to be moving to, not this upcoming football season, but the next one, where there's going to be 2 more teams, but there will be more. There will be
brands.
No, well, yes, as a result of it, but it'll be more like, here's what you have to do to get to the playoff, right? Right? There's 4 Big Ten teams. What is it? The 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Yeah, the Clue, the movie.
4 SEC, 4 Big Ten gets you to 8. 2 ACC, 2 Big 12 gets you to 12, and then 1 Notre Dame spot and 1 Group of 5 spot. What the hell does the committee need to do? It's already done for you. The selection process is done.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need a committee?
Might not want to push us all the way through a selection committee because then you're out of a job.
Just to make the rankings?
Just to
make the rankings, I
figure
suppose.
out the last 3 teams.
Will the Yogurt ever be on my television after they make the selections and we get to he gets to be the person that we throw stuff at?
I don't know. I thought Tennessee was. I was pushing for you guys.
Remember the guy Bubba this year for the basketball deal, and we were just like, I can't. Why is that guy on my screen? I just want to throw stuff at him.
Well, North Carolina is a big, beautiful brand.
He can't talk about North Carolina.
Oh.
He's not allowed to talk about North Carolina.
Damn it.
Mike writes in,
I'm like,
Yogurt, quote, hey, we played some of these teams.
hey, we played some of these guys.
So he could provide
good analysis.
He could provide some close personal stories about what it means to play some of those teams. But that's right. Big news as the Missouri Valley Football Conference and the Summit League are combining in some sort of way that I don't understand. And the Yogurt Man, a.k.a. Troy Danon, is on the College Football Playoff Committee, which in 1 year won't be necessary.
I just love the retweets the scribes are giving this.
Yeah. Well, you got to say it.
It's incredible.
It's news. Let's just let's take a break here, Josh.
Okay.
So that now we got through press releases that we don't understand the significance of.
That's a good segment.
There you go. Put it on the you can make that your topic for the podcast, Josh. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Good segment. The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right. Well, everybody continues to tweet about the news that Troy Danon is on the playoff committee.
It's huge, Connor.
And people keep failing to tell me why it's big news
They
that Troy
don't-
Danon is on the playoff committee.
They don't just put anyone on that committee.
I do not believe that this is self-explanatory. It's news because he is on the playoff committee, and that's news in and of itself. No. Tell me why.
I dare you.
I have no idea. I can't figure it out. But anyway, Chance writes in.
A chance.
This could be the biggest impact. How upset do you think Trev is that Danon gets to be on a big fancy committee and he didn't get invited? Trev loves committees. He wants to own a committee one day. He wants to be the chair of a committee one day.
His favorite restaurant in Omaha is the Committee.
Maybe it is.
That is actually an interesting point.
Maybe the yogurt is actually more connected than Trev.
Boy, that would really...
If there is a takeaway, it is probably that Danon Danon's got good contacts and he's been around for a long time and people know him in the game and they think a lot of him. What?
I went to the selection committee history year by year.
Yep.
He's never been on it.
Who, Trev?
Yeah.
No, I mean that there hasn't been that many people be on it, right? They mix in 2 new members, I think, every year.
There's Condoleezza Rice.
She was on there. Tom Osborne. He was on the first one.
Yeah, I see him right there.
So I don't know. I don't know how I don't know how Trev hasn't commented on this yet. How do you feel that yogurt got on the committee before you did? I don't know. Josh, we haven't talked about the baseball from this weekend.
The baseball
roundup. All right, so Nebraska baseball for the 3rd straight weekend. They lose on Friday night, but then they come back to win the remaining 2 games to take the series. And now you have set yourself up. This will be a consistent theme as we do our baseball roundup. This is the series of the year coming up for Nebraska coming up this weekend. Wow. Don't you think? Your home series, early May, weather's good, grass is green. You're playing Michigan, a Big Ten brand. Team that's gone to the College World Series in recent years, and I know that Michigan is not quite up to snuff to that degree this year. They're in the mix kind of with everybody else. Nebraska is 1 game clear, by my math, of the Big 1 game clear of the cut line for the Big Ten baseball tournament right now. So winning series is important. And so you have to do that this weekend, and there will be a lot on the line. It finally feels like they might have some momentum, right? Coming back to win these series, and, you've been able to stack some wins, and I know that, they've had their struggles on closing out games on Friday nights, but finally feels like you have some sort of momentum cooking for you at the moment if you're Nebraska baseball, which is a good thing. So you got 2 Big Ten series left, 1 at home, 1 on the road. You got Purdue next weekend on the road to finish it off. They're below you in the standings. Michigan's like right above you at the moment. And as we segue over, Tuesday, a rubber game, nice weather. You got it at home against Creighton. And Creighton's fighting for its own stuff that we'll talk about. But I don't know, you're going to see, it'll be interesting to see how those teams play it tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow on the show. But how will they play it knowing that they each of those schools, Creighton and Nebraska, have their biggest series of the year coming up this coming weekend and can do nothing to jeopardize the fact that they have those series. And there won't be. I mean, they won't do anything to harm from a pitching perspective. You're going to see some guys who pitch on the weekends tomorrow, but for an inning, right? So I think it might be a big deal for both of those teams to try and get a win in that Tuesday game, carry some momentum into the weekend, get you feeling good. With that being said, the last time, Creighton swept 3 straight weekends now, and they lost to Nebraska on a Tuesday in between there, so it didn't really matter in their case to do that. So they were able to regain momentum. We talk about momentum in baseball a lot, but sometimes you just got to roll the ball out there and kind of see what happens. So it's a huge series for Nebraska, and for Creighton, it's the same. I know you swept Garbo Butler this weekend. Stinky. Bad. But you have given yourselves a chance to win the Big East regular season title. I tweeted out the screenshot of the standings yesterday after the games had been completed. So UConn's 14-4 in the league. Creighton's 12-3 in the league. UConn has one more series this weekend. They're going to sweep it. So you could plan on UConn being 17-4.
Okay. Means Creighton's got to go 5-1 to match it, right?
That's right. You got it.
Okay.
You got the math. And and you can match it and still win.
Mm-hmm.
If you match it, you are the Big East champions. So that means the path to that is very simple, Josh. You play Georgetown in your final weekend, sweep it. You got Xavier this weekend. They're really tough. And they've been at the top of the conference all year long. Their RPI is 45. It's a good team. They've played a really, really, really difficult schedule. And kind of slipped up this past weekend with a loss to Seton Hall. Creighton, something Creighton did twice earlier in the season, kind of probably kicking themselves for that one a bit. But take 2 out of 3 from that series, and you have a very clear path to a Big East regular season championship. It's kind of amazing.
Love a clear path.
Love a clear path. Good take, Josh.
Thank you.
So the point is, we have important regular season baseball games here in May in our state between these, both when these two teams are playing each other on Tuesday to take the series for either one of them. And then this weekend, it gets even the stakes rise for both of them. It should be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful setting for important baseball games coming up this weekend for both of those teams. I'm excited about it.
We'll talk about it tomorrow, but I'm excited to hear your thoughts on whether or not the midweek game matters to either of these two schools.
Tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously you want to beat your rival, but big picture.
Oh, God, no. Big picture, no.
Okay.
I absolutely
thought
not.
we'd wait till tomorrow, but
no, I can get that out right now. It won't take me very long, Josh. No.
Hell no.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. But do those teams desperately want to beat each other because they're playing each other? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
God, yes. Absolutely. I would think that Creighton would feel an extra oomph to do that, given what happened to them last time and given that it's Ed Service's last Nebraska game.
That is a factor.
They were
headed down the stretch.
I was looking at those two teams against each other since Ed's been there since 2004, and Creighton was in a really big hole until like the last 5 years when they've come back. He's 25-31 all time against Nebraska, but they were there was a lot of matchups early in that series where Nebraska was like a top 15 team in the country, and Creighton would kind of, they'd win a couple, but they'd take it on the chin a little bit, and they did for a while, but they came back over the last several years here to make it close. So 57th and final chance for Ed Service tomorrow against Nebraska, and then he'll have his final home series this weekend, his final regular season series next weekend, final Big East tournament next weekend, final maybe regional.
Wow.
If you could potentially get to that point coming up very, very soon. That's right, Josh. Playoff college baseball. It's basically here. Yep. Soon enough. Speaking of playoff college baseball, I'd like to go off on a bit of a tangent here.
Oh, please.
Jack Caglione.
Yeah. What do you got on him?
Time to come to Omaha, buddy.
You're calling for it.
Yep. It's time.
This is the call.
It's time. It's time. We've seen enough. Seen enough of the AA level. Last 14 games for Jack Caglione.
He's been there long enough for 14 games? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there almost the whole season outside of that first week, I think, right?
Oh, yeah.
Slashing.
I'm sorry.
431, 516, 686, 1202. That's a 431 batting average, Josh. 1202 on OPS.
That's the good. Those are good.
Thank you.
Numbers.
3 home runs, mega dongs, 4 doubles, and the strikeout to walk is not as bad as it was.
Okay.
He has progressed in that category.
Improved.
It's very good. 13-9, 13 strikeouts, 9 walks over that period of time. He has made the adjustment. And so get ready, as Kenneth says, to learn Werner Park, buddy. Jack Caglione. People are calling for this. I'm not the only one.
It's going to get a little warmer.
Jack Caglione likes to come to Omaha in the summer and hit absolute tanks. That's what he does. And we're all lucky that this summer when he comes to Omaha, which he will, he'll be here this summer at some point. Maybe it's soon, maybe it's a little bit later. We're just all lucky that he's not going to be pitching.
Right. We don't need that.
We don't have to see any of that. So it's coming.
This is the official call.
Yeah.
It is time.
Yeah.
Says Connor Happer.
Yeah. I don't see why not.
Okay.
Why would you wait at this point?
I genuinely don't
He's
know.
very, very close to being able to help the major league team.
Mm-hmm.
So what will that do to our friends out at Werner Park? Kenneth writes in, buy one berm ticket, get a CAG dong free.
That's the promotion they should hold.
Yeah. CAGs, merch, stuff like that. The radio station in Kansas City, the home of the Royals, they had a little trip. They had like a little sickos trip this weekend to go see CAGs in Springfield.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And guess what he did? Hit a dong. Pretty good.
See, you can.
A Happer show would be chilling like a villain at Werner Park whenever we get the CAGs.
What if we just live streamed ourselves at the downdraft and the outfield on the berm?
See, the problem is that's in left center field. Is he going oppo?
I don't know.
We'd have to, maybe we plant ourselves in that cornfield out there in right center field. But remember, I mean, in McCovey Cove, they have the boats.
Right.
So we put a little canoe out there.
Okay.
In the cornfield, and we do our show from the canoe.
Now there's a good bit.
And then when CAGs hits one our way, we canoe ourselves over to the baseball.
We need a pool skimmer.
Interesting idea, isn't it? Now we're thinking. People are honking. Mike, by the way, wonders.
Hi, Mike.
Could it also be Will Bolt's last Creighton game? No, I don't think so. I did not think so.
We're not calling for that. Don't put it on the internet.
No.
That we're calling for that.
No, I think what happens to them this offseason is they make there might be some changes in the coaching staff department.
Feels like it's probably time.
Yeah. A little bit of that. They got to figure out what they're going to do. And who they're going to be. Too much inconsistency in that category. Will Bolt's taken a little bit more control of the offense over there over the last month or so. And it's shown signs of improvement. So I don't know. They got to find a way to get it right. And yeah, they were bit a little bit by the injury bug this year and all that stuff as well. Like this season does not have to be I know people are sitting around and wondering. They're like, why does it happen this way? Why aren't they consistent? And some of that is just the nature of the game that you're in. You're in the Big Ten baseball conference, and I know Nebraska always fancies itself as the team that cares the most in the Big Ten baseball conference, and they probably are. But Creighton is probably the school that cares the most about baseball in the Big East Conference. There's no guarantees that you're going to be able to piece it together the way you think you are every single year. There's so many things that you have to deal with. And sometimes it comes together for you, and sometimes you get unexpected. Like, did you think Brett Sears was going to be as good as Brett Sears was prior to Brett Sears being that good last year? No. Sometimes it just kind of comes together for you that way. And it's, look at what Mississippi State did firing Chris Lamonis after winning a national championship like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. I mean, you don't want to get into that game.
Yeah.
Right? That's a bad game. I know they're ass right now. They stink. They shouldn't be that bad. But I am way more of a hang on, pump the brakes. Let's slow down. Let's try and figure out what happened here, why it's gone this way. What do you need? That kind of thing. Because he clearly got a guy who cares about and values the program and is a grinder and will work for it and all of those things. So no, I do not think that. I do not think we're headed toward that. I don't think there's much of a hot seat, to be honest with you.
Troy's got this new job, so he'll be too preoccupied.
Yeah, he's focused on other things.
Yeah.
Focused on other things.
Very important, big things.
Yep. One more thing, Josh, before we take a break and get out of here, is sort of a potpourri of segment.
The Caitlin Clark thing?
We're
going to
don't know if we'll have time.
It's going to be close.
Don't know if we'll have time today. No, we have a skyscraper update.
Skyscraper update. Now, this is news.
So our friends at growomaha.com. I love this website, by the way.
Congrats to...
I don't know who's in charge of this. This is great.
Congrats to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid. They are going to be the next face on the barroom floor at the Omaha Press Club.
Whoa, that's these guys who run this?
Mm-hmm.
Tell them, so it feels like you have like a connection to these guys somehow.
I used to produce their radio show.
Tell them excellent work.
Oh, yeah. No, they do great work.
I love this website because it gives me updates on all the construction jobs.
And what restaurant they're building at that intersection you drive by every day.
It's amazing. It's great. And so they popped in this morning and said, here's an update on the big new tower. And make no mistake about it, it's big. It scrapes the sky.
It does.
It will anyway.
By definition.
The tower crane is now attached to the 30th floor. That means the crane can now be extended higher. The headquarters building will eventually be 677 feet tall, and completion is planned for the end of 2026. I swear I sit up there in the booth at the Chuck Box and I go, that thing keeps getting bigger. And it turns out that's how building buildings works.
It does, yes.
It keeps getting taller and taller and taller. But it's going to be great. We're going to have an even better downtown skyline soon enough. Construction update. We like to keep you apprised of all the things that are happening from a construction place perspective in this town. What's going on at Crossroads? Nothing again?
Nothing?
Let's keep you updated.
Imagine that.
Yep.
I can't wait for Carl Ravitch.
What weirdo claims are they making about when they're going to start building things at the Crossroads? We'll keep you updated.
If you give us $1 billion, we'll put an NHL team there.
Yeah. What's Carl Ravitch going to say?
I can't. Yeah. What's he going to say about the new tower? Like, the ever-changing landscape. This city just keeps growing and growing.
I saw they put Ravitch on an SEC series this weekend. I'm like, what? There's no chance that guy has seen any college baseball this year.
Texas, Arkansas? Or
It
last
might have been LSU A&M.
Okay.
It was one of those. It was one of those series this weekend, and Ravitch was on. I'm like, what the heck does he know? I mean, I don't know.
And then he was in Atlanta for Dodgers Braves.
Yep. I don't know. All right, there's your potpourri for this segment. There's still a couple more things that we can get to tomorrow. There's a lot of lists, by the way, that are piling up on us.
Is it list season?
It's getting pretty dang close.
Okay.
It's getting pretty dang close. We're back with the polls, and we'll tell you what to watch coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Upon further review, the host point is good.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Equitable.
just spoke with our dear friend Josh Peterson out in the lobby.
Host of Unsportsmanlike Conduct?
Yes. He reminded me something that I forgot to say during this show today. So tomorrow, of course, we'll have Creighton and Nebraska baseball right here on 1620 The Zone. Final time this year. Should be a fun game. Beautiful night. Big crowd, that whole deal. We'll bring you coverage from the Creighton side over here on 1620 The Zone. It'll be myself and John Bishop.
John Bishop on the call.
John Bishop, he of Broken Wrist, will join me on the call tomorrow.
They got enough room in that booth for the cube?
Oh, yeah. We're going to make it. We're going to make it.
Okay.
It'll be the cube inside the cubicle. You broadcast from a cubicle at Haymarket Park.
Oh.
And I believe the plan is for this weekend, assuming everything is gone, we'll maybe talk to John about this in a minute or two when the crossover starts. He will be on 2 of the games this weekend.
Hello.
With me. Pretty excited. I'm very excited.
How's he going to?
I don't think John will be able to contain his excitement. That's what I'm concerned about. So
I got questions.
You can't keep that guy on the sideline for very long. That's all I'm saying. There was never any chance of that. Because I asked him last week, I said, John, when do you think your next Creighton baseball broadcast will be? And he said, well, it'll probably be 2026. And I said, and I'm thinking, I don't think so. There's no way. No way.
No.
And what do you know? He's going to probably do 3 out of the last 4 games.
I mean, this guy's called the CWS with no voice.
Actually, he had to go home for that one.
That's true. He did have to go home that one time.
He went home on that one.
Well, I tried.
All right, to the polls. Do you like a boat?
I do.
I do too. Good take. 75% agree. Is being jacked super in right now? Yes or no?
I don't know. I'm going to go no.
It's very close. 51% saying no.
Okay.
It's not super in right now. Are books real anymore?
Yeah. I hold lots of books in my hands in my day-to-day life.
Only 62% agree with you, Josh. Oof. Have you ever thought of Russell Westbrook?
Not really, no.
What? Wait a minute. What's going on here? So, admittedly, not a very voted on poll question today, but 64% say no, that they've never thought of Russell Westbrook. I thought that'd be like an 80% plus, Josh.
No.
It's very weird.
Why are you thinking of Russell Westbrook? It's the
Have
playoffs.
you ever once thought of Russell Westbrook?
It's the playoffs. You should not be thinking of Russell Westbrook.
Do you assume there's a male inside of the mascot suit? I do. I never really think about it.
I'm sorry.
82% say yes. And finally, who would you rather root for? The country of Canada or St. Louis, Missouri, the city?
Oh, Canada.
Agreed. 57% say Canada. Give me Canada all night long. Those are the polls, Josh. What are we watching tonight?
We are watching the NBA playoffs. A couple of game ones on TNT tonight. The Knicks are in Boston to take on the Celtics at 6 o'clock.
Knicks.
Followed by the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder at 8:30.
Can't kill them yet.
That's right. NHL, the draft lottery kicks off coverage on ESPN tonight. 6 o'clock. San Jose has the best odds, 18.5% of getting the number 1 pick. The Chicago Blackhawks have the second best odds at 13.5%. And then that is followed by a game 1 in the East between the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs at 7 o'clock. Baseball on your TV tonight. MLB Network is at Yankee Stadium for Padres-Yankees at 6. Astros-Brewers, your free game of the day on MLB TV at 6:30. And then something I have not yet had to write on my sheet here. The Seattle Mariners are at the Athletics. C at Ath. Haven't had to write that yet. It's weird.
Stupid.
9 o'clock on MLB Network. And finally, Connor, pop some popcorn, get your snacks ready, because it all goes down at 5 o'clock tonight on E! It is fashion's biggest night. The Met Gala is tonight.
Oh.
See the best looks inspired by the Metropolitan Museum's Super Fine Tailoring Black Style exhibition Do have an update on tonight's Met Gala. LeBron James is out due to a knee injury. He wanted everyone to know. He will not be there. His knee has a boo-boo on it.
Well, he was playing with a grade 2, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how he can even walk. He was so brave.
Is this the thing that Joe Burrow was getting out of that big van with his not girlfriend?
It sounds like a Met Gala. Yeah.
Joe Burrow would absolutely be at the Met Gala, right?
He could be if he wanted to be. Will your favorite couple be there tonight?
Josh Allen
and Haley Steinfeld? She's very hot right now, spitting in Michael B. Jordan's mouth all the time.
Yikes, Josh.
What?
It was just once.
Just the one time.
It's called acting. Ever heard of it? Josh Allen does not seem like a Met Gala guy, but he does seem like a guy if his wife, fiance, asked him to go, he would go.
Could you go to this one thing with me?
Yeah, he would go. He would go.
You got it, babe.
He'd go. He'd go right along.
He's a good man.
It'd be lock in arms. All right, Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
That is what we're watching tonight. That's the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com. Have you heard, by the way, Troy Dannon is on the playoff selection committee?
It's big news.
Crossovers coming up next.